Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast that does not wish anyone's butt to explode like Kane's pyro, except for Kevin Dunn. It's Lost in the Midcard. Welcome to this, I guess a pre-Roadblock edition of Lost in the Midcard. And as always, thank you to SpiderDuck.net for hosting us and enabling us to be on iTunes. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or any of your favorite podcasting apps. All you have to do is search for Lost in the Midcard and subscribe. And later on, we'll talk about a little incentive for those to leave us a 5-star rating as well. We are also subscribable on YouTube, and you can find our links to all that on our Facebook page, facebook.com/LostInTheMidcard. We are also on the Twitter at LITMC Podcast. And, and as always, he is on the Twitter at Raw F Showtime. I'm on the Twitter at JB Huskers. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, JB. How are you doing?
Doing most excellent. I think I've shaken off the cold for good. Let's hope.
Knock on wood.
It's been a good week so far. And we are joined by a special guest. You may know him if you know us, possibly, but he's on the Twitter at Charles Shane. He's a member of the WWE Games committee, and it is Mr. Charles Shane. Charles, how you doing this evening?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We're gonna. In a little bit here, we'll get Charles's take on some NXT events that just happened up in his neck of the woods. The Arnold Classic, along with another show. Was that just a regular live show that you went to after the Arnold Classic?
Actually, I only went to NXT Cleveland on Friday. The Arnold Classic, I only went to one day of it, so I went Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't go to the event thing of that. But we'll talk about his experiences out there, and of course he'll chime in here on our Road to WrestleMania and also the Road to Roadblock, which is this Saturday on the WWE Network, just a couple of days away. But let's first kick off with some headlines. Some sad news to pass along. Legendary Japanese wrestler Hayabusa unfortunately passed away earlier this week at the age of 47. He was found dead on the 3rd of March. The cause of death is listed as a subarachnoid hemorrhage, which is bleeding in the area of the brain and tissues that cover the brain. He began his career in 1991. And he first came to the world's attention in a match against Jushin Thunder Liger in the Super J Cup in 1994. The same tournament that brought Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Taka Michinoku, and the Great Suzuki to the attention of audiences around the world through tape trading. His biggest match in the U.S. came when he tagged with Jinsei Senzaki, known to the WWE as Hakushi. They took on Sabu and Rob Van Dam at ECW Heatwave in 1998. And unfortunately, his career ended in 2001 while suffering a neck injury. Matt, I know you pay attention to a little bit of the Japanese side of things. Have you ever seen Hayabusa wrestle before?
Yeah, he was a crazy risk taker.
Ahead of his time.
He was ahead of his time. But I think he's influenced a lot of the wrestling you see today, and I don't think he gets enough of the credit for that. But he also displays how dangerous today's wrestling style can be. He was paralyzed for well over a decade. He just recently walked again. I think it was like September of last year. He was able to get up and walk again after all that time. And I mean, that was a really big emotional moment. And, to hear that now that he has passed away, it's just sad. And it's really something it's a caution to the future of the industry. Sometimes less is more. And you also have to, wonder, sometimes if some of our favorites have done a little bit less, like like a Edge or a Daniel Bryan or something like that, to maybe they'd still be wrestling today. So sometimes, when you're expecting your favorite superstar to go out there and break their back for your entertainment, just realize what they're risking every time they go out there, and sometimes it's not worth them doing that crazy spot every single night.
Yeah, definitely. And wrestlers from all over the world took to Twitter to offer their condolences. I know Samoa Joe had some nice words to say about Hayabusa as well. It's been announced, and as we all pretty much suspected, WrestleMania 33 next year is going to be taking place once again at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. They had a press conference, a lot of video. The New Day came out and spoke. I believe Roman Reigns came out and spoke. Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon. Pretty big ordeal as the announcement of WrestleMania is always. Charles, what do you think? What do you think of the return to the Citrus Bowl for WrestleMania?
I will actually be there live.
Nice.
This will be my second time being there because I was at WrestleMania 24 when they had it there. So that'd be pretty cool.
I've always heard that place is a dump. They fixed it up, but how was it when you were there for 24?
Oh, it's a piece of crap. Other than what you actually see inside the stadium, where they actually spruced it up with all the palm trees and all the decorations and all the decor and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, when you actually are on the other side of the stands, it's nothing special at all. It really, you're essentially, you feel like you're outside underneath bleachers is what it feels like when you're inside there.
Yeah, Nebraska's played many bowl games in the Citrus Bowl. I know, just 2 or 3 years ago they played Georgia down there, and yeah, so I've heard a lot of firsthand accounts about how shitty that Citrus Bowl is.
The city of Orlando has stated that they've spent a ton of money upgrading the Citrus Bowl in order to bring WWE back. So anybody who's been there 24 will be able to speak firsthand next year if all these improvements that they're claiming that they made are legitimate or not. So
it's pretty bad enough when you watch, I believe it's the history of WrestleMania. It's on the network. Let me promoting. $9.99. That even the wrestlers are on that documentary talking about how that place was a dump, and it's true. It is. It really wasn't the nicest place I've ever been into for an actual sporting event. I get the arguments where people are coming from too. I wish they would pick stadiums they've never. I understand it's a whole bidding war and everything else. Who pays more? Yada yada. Money, business. I get it, but I just wish they would pick like stadiums they have not been to yet, instead of going back and revisiting stadiums they've already been into. I get certain people aren't going to get stuff just because weather permitting, but hey, they were in New York, New Jersey, and they had heaters under the ring. They can go new places.
That place was cold, man.
I bet.
It was cold at WrestleMania 29 up there.
I think a lot of the reasoning behind WrestleMania 33 coming to Orlando next year ties into the next story, where it has been released by Attractions Management. Actually filed the report there, where sources within Universal Studios have told the Attraction Management that its park in Orlando, Florida, is now going to be plans to be building a restaurant and a physical Hall of Fame in Orlando before WrestleMania 33 in 2017. Obviously, this has been a talked about thing ever since their last kind of physical attraction in Times Square closed in 2003. There's just never been a physical place, kind of like Canton for the NFL Hall of Fame. There has been no physical place for you to visit, and obviously the WWE has a lot of roots in Orlando with NXT now in the Performance Center, and so now they're looking to take that next step and have a physical attraction for the Hall of Fame along with a restaurant. Matt, do you think is something that's been a long time coming?
No, I think not only is it a long time coming, I definitely agree that this potentially sealed the deal to bring WrestleMania back to Orlando. They've been looking to do the Hall of Fame for a long time. They already have the Performance Center down there. To get the Hall of Fame and Universal Studios as well as a new restaurant for them, that's a no-brainer. That you want to work with that city that's working to put you over, and you want to come down there and put on WrestleMania. It just makes sense. From a marketing standpoint, I completely understand why they're going back to Orlando. You know, if they're so welcoming for, you know, all these things WWE, it makes sense to go back and do this again.
Yeah, there's been a lot of rumors that they're trying to go for back-to-back years. I know the mayor, I think, came out.
Yeah, I can't see that happening.
No. I know the mayor came out and said that he'd like to at least see it every 5 years. And if the Hall of Fame is going to be there, if they did spruce up the Citrus Bowl, I mean, there's no real reason for them to build a brand new stadium in Orlando unless the WWE builds their own stadium, which would be insane. But I think it's a good thing at least to have a physical Hall of Fame. And you're right, I think it was definitely a good key into having that there and to bringing in WrestleMania 33. Charles, are you going to WrestleMania this year?
I'm not going this year, and if I have my way, this will be the last year that I do not attend a WrestleMania. I'm guaranteeing myself that I will be at 33 next year. I'm actually excited that the whole Hall of Fame physical thing is happening because I don't know when I would ever get around to the time to travel down there just to go to the Hall of Fame. But, I mean, if you're going down there WrestleMania weekend, you're going to see all the stuff that you already see on WrestleMania weekend, and then that's there, brand new. I mean, that'd be pretty awesome. And me being a huge Undertaker fan, I'm just hoping that this is the year they put him in there, kind of the christening of the new Hall of Fame, and someone of his caliber gets put in there, actually at the physical Hall of Fame. I think that'd be pretty awesome. But like you were saying, WWE, maybe if they build their own arena or whatever, I mean, I was wondering that. I mean, I'm here, I'm from Ohio. I live about half hour from the NFL Hall of Fame. I mean, I would trade that in a second to have as much as I like football, I would trade in a second to have the WWE Hall of Fame here. But I mean, they have their own stadium, the Hall of Fame stadium here. They have a game. They do the whole Hall of Fame weekend thing. I mean, for WWE to do that every 5 years or so, I think that could be pretty cool. But it would have to be something like, I don't see how they would do it because WWE would always want to be in a stadium, and I don't see them building a stadium, maybe an arena, but not a stadium. Yeah. I don't see them.
Well, they don't need to build an arena because the Amway Center is basically brand new. I think it's only in its like third year of existence for the Orlando Magic. So they've got a state-of-the-art stadium or arena there. But obviously, I think the arena days of WrestleMania are done, unless they decide to make a special one and have it in a stadium, because you never know. But at the same time, I think the days of having it in a Madison Square Garden have I think passed by just because of the magnitude of the event.
Exactly. I don't think they'll ever do an arena just because from even a publicity standpoint and like a coverage standpoint, I don't think they want people to look at like the NFL and they're in these huge stadiums and look at wrestling. People, then news outlets and stuff are going to think like, well, what are they cutting back? Are they not doing well? Or it's just that once you're on that stage, you got to stay there. Especially when you're the biggest wrestling company in the world,
and especially if they're going to break the record this year in Cowboy Stadium. Yeah. And yes, this will be my first ever WrestleMania. So,
what do you guys think about that? You think they're going to beat that record? They're going to sell all that? I mean, they still got plenty of freaking. I mean, if you look at ticket outlets and stuff, there's still plenty of seats left.
Yeah, I don't know.
They seem to be sold out for the most part on Ticketmaster. It seems like the secondhand market is where tickets are flooded at right now.
Well, last I checked, Ticketmaster still got like floor seats close to the ring for like $10,000.
Yeah, which is honestly, if you look anywhere else in the stadium on Ticketmaster, you can't get tickets. It's really just those seats, those insanely priced seats on the floor that they're not moving. They're not selling at that price. Yeah. And honestly, I don't blame them. I think those prices are outrageous.
Oh, don't even get me started on Ticketmaster. Sometimes I just don't even understand their system.
Oh, it's awful. It's absolutely awful.
It was the whole pre-sale, the whole WrestleMania gamut for me in Ticketmaster has been terrible. Yeah. Thankfully, I got tickets for NXT and the Raw the night after.
Have you ever been to an NXT show?
No.
That'll probably be the best wrestling show you've ever been to live.
You're gonna love it, dude.
Like,
God, Sami Zayn's gonna fight Nakamura. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely. I mean, I've been to quite a few. I mean, I've been to WrestleManias, and I'd put the NXT live like house shows that I've seen here in Cleveland and Columbus up against those. They're unreal, the matches these guys put on.
Yeah, I'm excited that my first show is going to be a takeover, and it's probably going to be the biggest takeover in history. And I'm also seeing Ring of Honor live for the first time too, so I'm very stoked for the whole weekend there. And then of course the capper of WrestleMania and the night after, and we're way high up in the rafters for Raw, but it's great that I could see a whole crowd go nuts, and we got some great seats for WrestleMania. We're in the 200 level section by the stage, so
nice.
I think we're gonna have a nice view from where we're at, and I think we can. If we can't see the ring well enough, obviously we got the old Jerrytron.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're sitting up pretty high for WrestleMania, but I mean the size of those Trons on the sides and the front of the arena, I don't think anybody's gonna have any problem seeing something in that arena, in the stadium or whatever you want to call it. I think it's gonna be a magical atmosphere. I think the best WrestleMania atmosphere I've ever been in was WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
If they can match that magical energy that they had that night in this building, it's going to be really cool to sit there and experience that show. So,
yeah, you've already got a lot of catalysts to help that out with, especially if a Mr. Dean Ambrose wins on Saturday.
We can keep hoping.
Yeah, the women are going to tear the house down. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, they're gonna let
it looks to be going in that direction, right?
They're gonna let it fly. Yeah, I don't see why there's no.
One of the secondary title matches is going to be a multi-man match, and at this point, it should be the U.S. title, but at this point, we still don't know.
It makes absolutely no sense to put the Intercontinental title up on a multi-man match. It just makes no sense.
I wouldn't do it.
No, it's stupid. From ProWrestlingSheet.com, some good news. Seth Rollins is back in the ring and training multiple times a week. He's already been out 4 months with his reconstructive knee surgery. It's projected he's going to miss 6 to 9 months. The time is getting closer and closer for the Architect to get back into the ring, and the pop he is going to get when he returns on a Monday Night Raw is going to be insane. Sources from Pro Wrestling Sheet say that Rollins has been working in the ring without a brace, and usually multiple times a week, but he's very cautious about his leg involvement, playing it safe, icing his knee after every training session. So, Matt, do you think we already talked about when Seth first started rehabbing and how close that was to his surgery? Do you think this is a John Cena type situation where we might get Seth Rollins back in May or June?
Is it bad that I still see Cena returning before Rollins?
No, well,
honestly, I do. I mean,
I think Cena's gonna be ready by WrestleMania. He's just choosing not to push it this year.
I mean, Cena even tweeted out earlier today. Sometimes that last little push for you to achieve the impossible needs a little antagonism, even if it's self-inflicted. Hashtag never give up. Hashtag WrestleMania 32. So I'm almost saying Cena's saying, I said I'm not wrestling this year at the press conference in Florida, so I could push myself harder to wrestle at WrestleMania.
So, you think it's a ruse?
I would not be surprised to see him come out and win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Something that he could come out and easily do without, getting.
He doesn't need that
hurt. I don't think he needs it either.
But that thing needs elevated.
I could still see Cena back before I see Rollins back.
Because the booking of Cesaro and Big Show post that Rumble match or that Battle Royal match has been terrible. So I don't know.
Yeah.
NXT is coming out with a DVD and Blu-ray coming out, I believe, on Tuesday. It's going to be the Greatest Matches Volume 1. It's going to date back all the way back to 2012 when we had the very first tournament final for the NXT Championship. Oh, you remember who was in that tournament final, Matt?
Yeah, it was Seth Rollins and Jinder Mahal, and
don't hinder the gender.
And they've already announced online that the DVD came out on Tuesday. There's already people saying that they edited out Rollins' curb stomp to win the title in that match. It's like they edited it right out.
That is so stupid.
It's out already? I thought it came out this Tuesday.
I think it came out yesterday.
No, it's next week.
All right. Well, somebody got it. Somebody got it early, because there's definitely word online right now that they edited out the curb stomp match.
Mike Johnson posted the listing yesterday, and he says it's to be released next week. So
yeah, okay. Well, somebody got a hold of it early. I trust the person who said that it was edited out. So
well, it doesn't surprise me. I think I can't remember what I was watching at the time, but I think they edited an interview where Rollins said curb stomp.
really.
I think they edited out him saying the words curb stomp, which is ridiculous.
See, that's one of the great things about the network is just because they've already put the promise out there that they will not edit stuff for the network. But hey, we never said that for DVDs, I guess. So that's just stupid.
Because curb stomp is still in WrestleMania 31, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand if like Mahal got hurt when that happened, and then they edited that somehow. But I mean, what does it matter if no one got hurt or anything? I mean,
I don't think he's actually ever injured anybody with that move.
No.
Yeah. So I really don't understand. I mean, I know they're really paranoid about concussions nowadays and whatnot,
maybe somebody high up at the WWE watched American History X. And they made that scene where they made the guy bite down on the curb.
I don't know. All I know is I think it's ridiculous that you're editing moves out of history at this point. It's just, come on, just leave it in. If he never does it again, that's fine. But you shouldn't be editing history, because you're editing you're editing the finish of almost all of his matches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm not the biggest
really
dirt
sucks.
sheet guy. I'm not the big dirt sheet guy. I don't really follow him that much, stuff like that. But I mean, I would love to sit in like the room where that's decided that we need to edit this move out of this.
Yeah.
Like when those kind of decisions like that of editing and stuff like that, I would love to sit in the room and just be in there and like, what went on? Like what was thrown around conversation wise to say, yeah, let's take that out.
I completely agree. I would love to hear the reasoning.
Yeah, it's stupid, whatever it is, because that was one of the best. That was one of my favorite finishers too. And
yeah, it was always really cool, and it gave us one of the coolest moments at WrestleMania last year, the curb stomping in the RKO.
So yeah, if you have the network, I guess
the curb stomp will live on.
You can hunt and peck for these matches, but if you don't have the network, this is definitely a must buy. 3-disc set, like I said, takes you from the tournament final in August of 2012 all the way up to the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and also little bits of interviews, bits and pieces along the way, and a few Blu-ray exclusives as well.
You know what I find hilarious?
The error of the 5 count.
I'll tell you what I find hilarious is if you actually go on the WWE Network, I just pulled it up on my iPhone and typed in curb stomp, and it just pulls up every Seth Rollins match. Like literally, it recognizes the search term curb stomp. Like before you can even finish typing it out, it gives you as a recommended option to click on curb stomp, and then shows you a whole bunch of Seth Rollins matches, including pretty much all of his title matches.
Let's just go in there and take an eraser to Chris Benoit and Hulk Hogan while we're at it. And oh, look, the air body slammed Andre the Giant. How did the air do that?
Brother.
Part of me cries every time I go on the network and search for Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling, and I see it, but it just gives you an error when you click on it.
Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, we waited all that time for them to put it on there, and then that happened.
Exactly.
Well, hopefully this Gawker shit will be over with soon.
I really hope so.
We aren't going to really go through the updates.
Good. I was hoping you'd say that because I don't want to.
No. Hogan's taking the stand. His attorney has taken the stand. I believe they're in day 3. Once there's a ending, we'll probably report it.
Of course. We'll cover the verdict, but I don't want to cover anything down.
We ain't going to break it down.
I heard Hogan was talking about the size of his dick today.
Yes.
And I'm just for
in the
real?
courtroom?
Like, it's just, yes!
His character has a bigger dick than he does, yes.
And I'm just like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. Like, this is really part of the trial.
Oh, God.
Don't ask me.
Unbelievable.
During Raw this week, it was announced the next guest on the Stone Cold podcast will be none other than the hardcore legend Mick Foley. And he is scheduled to appear on Raw this coming week in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So, and of course, right now, if you go to...
There.
You going to the Berg?
I already got tickets to the Berg. Second row at the corner announce table where I was for Fastlane.
Sick.
And Foley's running a Dream WrestleMania raffle with all proceeds going to Rain. And go to realmickfoley.com for details on the charity, and also a killer weekend with the Hardcore Legend. There's some cool shit that is included in there, and I believe he just added NXT TakeOver to that raffle as well. So pretty cool stuff there. Matt, you I know we got a couple other guys that we want to hear from, but are you excited for Foley on the Austin podcast?
Yeah, I mean it should be a good show. I'm more interested. I'm hoping that it's live. If it's a pre-tape, I'm not nearly as interested. I went back.
I still have not.
I went back and
I
went back and watched them.
I haven't watched the Flair and HBK ones yet, but I've watched the last. God, who was the last one on?
Big Show was the last one.
Big Show,
which I thought was excellent. I thought it was one of the best coverages of Big Show that they've ever done.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah,
I just like the fact that he put a lot of people in their place about how his character and like his whole role is in WWE, and it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't believe people are bitching at him that he's winning matches and not putting the younger talent over, and he's like, I won 8 matches in the past 2 years.
It's true.
That's 8 too many.
He lets everybody
retire. God damn.
One thing I would like to say before we move on, I even though I've pretty much attended WrestleMania every year, I still put down some money in that Mick Foley raffle for Rain for the WrestleMania vacation. It's a great cause. If you don't know all the details, I highly recommend looking into it. And I mean, you can get like 5 raffle tickets for $10, and it's worth it for a great cause. And I highly recommend all of our listeners to, even if you are attending WrestleMania or you have no desire to, just go drop a couple dollars into the raffle and help those people. So
I'll tell you what disgusts me is the fact that people were hassling Mick Foley on the fact that it costs money to enter the raffle.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he actually was like retweeting people with comments saying, well, it's for a good cause and all the money goes to this charity. And pretty much having to explain why it costs money for people to be in the raffle to go to their shows.
That's great that he's retweeting those douchebags.
I mean, how jacked up can you be that you...
That's awful. I didn't even hear about that.
Oh, yeah, I see it on my Twitter feed from Mick talking to people about it. It's like, really? You don't understand why this costs money and where this money's going? It's not like he's pocketing the money.
And now let's go see how fast they can delete that tweet because they're getting hammered by people.
Yeah.
And they deserve to.
Oh, yes. That's why I'm glad Foley's retweeting that shit.
On the Stone Cold podcast news, obviously they did the ones that were pre-taped. Hopefully the upcoming one, Mick Foley's not pre-taped. But whatever happened to, like I said, you guys probably follow the dirt sheets and stuff like that more than I do. Whatever happened to why, like, Stone Cold's podcast remained and Jericho's went away when it really was Stone Cold there first, then Jericho was there and Stone Cold was gone. Anybody know why that happened? Like, why they phased the Jericho podcast out and decided to go back with Stone Cold again?
Stone Cold kind of had a little heat with Vince for a second, was the thought that why Jericho had one going.
Well, well, first off, I still want my Sting and Undertaker Stone Cold podcast that WWE Network promised me in July. I'm still waiting for those. But the reason I'm hearing that the Jericho podcast came in for that short stint was because when I was in San Jose last year, I was told from, the people that I was with that Stone Cold was scheduled for WrestleMania in San Jose as a surprise, and that he was showing up to set up an angle with the Undertaker for WrestleMania 33 in Dallas, for WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. And that was going to be the big match that they were going to surround everything around. It was going to be Austin and The Undertaker in Dallas, and it was going to be Austin's last match in this big whoop-de-doo deal. And something happened, and Austin chose not to take his flight, and Vince got pissed, and they stopped talking to each other for a couple months, and eventually cooler heads prevailed, I suppose, and they all got back together again. But yeah, I mean, what might have been? We could be a couple weeks away from Stone Cold and The Undertaker right now. But
the heck, this time he didn't even bring his ball. He didn't even get to take it home. He never brought it.
Yeah, he just chose not to take his flight. So it's really weird.
Then it makes you wonder how much he was ribbing Vince, kind of cutting a promo on Paul Heyman with when they did the podcast with him.
That's true. Yeah. I will say with the podcast, I hope they don't do any more pre-taped ones because the Ric Flair one, if that thing was, that's probably why they didn't do it live. Because you could tell blatantly so many times when he was telling stories that they just got cut short and edited out.
Yep, I agree.
I can only imagine where those stories were going to go and where they went that we just didn't get to see it.
I love the live aspect of the podcast.
Yeah,
awesome.
And it just, I feel it brings a lot more to it than something that could just be chopped down and edited to WWE's liking afterwards. So
Vince probably doesn't prefer it.
I love the almost uneasy uncomfortableness of Stone Cold sitting there waiting for Big Show to come back from his match, trying to stall as much as possible.
Hilarious.
I was so surprised that he was the last match.
At least it gave him time to cut a promo on Daniel Bryan's career, though. So that was kind of a good thing about that.
Yeah, that was, I thought that was great. Austin just buying time. I thought that was awesome.
What do you guys think Daniel Bryan's next role will be? I mean,
I think he'll be in Bree's corner when she faces Lana at WrestleMania.
I can see that.
Because that certainly looks to be where they're going right now. I would imagine it'll be Rusev in Lana's corner and Daniel Bryan in Bree's corner. So I would imagine that's what they're going to do with him next.
I think the business is in his blood so much that I think long term he's going to be an agent. Maybe a part-time agent. Maybe he's not on the road full-time. Who knows? It depends on how he wants to ease back into things. But I think long-term with Daniel Bryan, he's going to be an agent or an asset at the Performance Center. But at the same time, he's not going to move to Florida. He's going to stay in Washington, or I believe I think they still have a house in Washington. So
that makes sense. I mean, that guy's got a lot of knowledge. I actually, here within the past week, started reading his book. And, I mean, just the stuff where he's come from and stuff like that is, I mean, that dude knows a lot. I mean, he started training wrestlers before, why he was still pretty much a rookie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the logical thing for him, but obviously it's all up to him. I follow Brie on Instagram, and I like seeing all the pictures of her and what Daniel are doing, because we don't get to see Daniel on TV much, so you get to see Daniel hanging out a lot more. And
honestly, that's one of the main reasons I watch Total Divas, just to see as little of as it is the actual behind the scenes of what's going on backstage with actual the male talent. I get it, I'm a guy.
Yeah.
Guys want to stare at girls, stuff like that, but half the time the stuff on there just happens week in, week out. It's the same thing every time. But just to see some of the behind the scenes stuff of the guys of Brian or John Cena or something.
Yeah, now especially with Daniel Bryan being gone, it makes
Brian is absolutely the highlight of that show.
I'll tell you what, I love it when Titus O'Neil appears on there. He is hilarious. That guy is hilarious.
Poor Titus.
Oh yeah, exactly. Poor Titus.
We're pulling for you, buddy.
Yeah, well, Scott Hall thinks he's going to win the Under the Giant Battle Royal. Hashtag got him.
Right now, Titus O'Neil's wish he was getting ribbed.
Oh my God, that was so fucking. We mentioned that on the show a couple weeks ago. That's so fucking petty, ridiculous.
The fact that he was almost fired over it is the worst part.
Oh yeah,
Triple H saved him from getting fired. I mean, it
just makes no sense.
That's insane.
I mean, when you see the camera angle from the fans' point of view, someone in the crowd, that camera angle, at one point, Vince McMahon had a smile on his face.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen it from any angle other than the one from the network.
Yeah, there's one with from the stands, from the left side, the pretty much camera side, the side the cameras are on. Someone has a cell phone video. And at one point, Vince McMahon is smiling. So I don't know where that went from, okay, ha ha ha, to, okay, now you're suspended.
Well, like Matt mentioned a couple weeks on the podcast, he was probably fuming out the ears when Rock went off script, so he probably wanted to bag himself somebody fucking up,
Oh, that was the greatest.
Yeah, and he was, like I said back then, he wasn't going to punish The Rock.
No. So wait a minute, are you saying that Titus O'Neil got Triple H'd?
I think he did.
Did we just win Madison Square Garden all over again?
I think Vince was waiting for someone that he could punish, and Titus presented himself, and Vince took the bait. I think if anybody other than John Cena or The Rock, I think if anybody would have pulled a stunt, and Vince would have wanted to make an example out of him because he could not do anything to The Rock.
Oh, if Rock, Cena, Triple H, I mean, if anybody of those guys, those top guys, would have grabbed his arm then and there, nothing would have happened.
No, not at all.
Agreed.
Nothing would have happened to them.
We can't wait for the day.
Now, if it was
when,
Bo Dallas, see you later.
Yeah, Bo,
I don't know.
Bo might not have gotten the.
Well,
Bo might have
relationship,
gotten fired.
family status might have saved Bo.
Yeah,
True.
with his brother being there,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
Heath Slater, you're out.
And IRS is an agent and all that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the family ties might have saved Bo, but yeah, Heath Slater would have been done.
Well, I'll be in a happier place when Triple H takes over, probably.
What is
Same problem?
What is the Slate Heater doing in the Impact Zone?
Whoa, he's the one-man rock band for Dixie Carter.
Oh
Yay.
boy!
Thanks to the WWE, or thanks to the WrestleMania 32 magazine hitting the newsstands, we have found out who the other two nominees are for the WWE Hall of Fame. We'll talk about the guy that was announced on Raw here just a little bit, but a couple people that have not been mentioned yet: Stan Hansen and Jacqueline Moore. And Matt, you probably won't know much on Stan Hansen, but this guy was a great heel. One of the best, kind of like the mold of Cowboy Bob Orton. I grew up watching Stan a lot in the NWA days, and so to see him get inducted into the Hall of Fame is top notch. And Jacqueline was a pioneer in her field when the ladies division was dying, and I think she's well deserved of a spot there too. Don't you agree?
Oh, I mean Stan Hansen, I know by name alone. I can't say I've seen much of his work, but just his legend alone is enough to be in the Hall of Fame. And Jacqueline, if you're looking for pioneers of women's wrestling in the 90s and what she helped transform, she's an unsung hero compared to others that helped push it along. But she was definitely key and integral point in those times of having it happen. I'm just, overall, I normally really enjoy the Hall of Fames every year, but just looking over this class, I'm not that excited about this overall class this year. I
don't know. I'm pretty excited.
To me, it's Sting, Big Boss Man, and everybody else.
There's a lot of NWA in this. And
it's sad to me that Boss Man, obviously has passed away. He can't even be there to accept it.
Yeah.
So the only speech I'm really looking forward to is Sting's.
What about P.S. Hayes?
I've heard him talk so much over the last 20 years. I don't know what else he can tell me. Well, yeah, to see what he wears is going to be ridiculous. But honestly, this is the first Mania I've been to since 28 where I'm not attending the Hall of Fame. Well, no, I went to the Hall of Fame in 28. Yeah. This is the first Hall of Fame. This is the first WrestleMania I'm attending where I'm not also attending the Hall of Fame. I just feel when the WWE Network was introduced, the allure of going to the Hall of Fame took a big hit because back in the day you couldn't see it all unless you bought the special edition DVD later because the USA Network only had like a 1 hour version, and you wanted to see it all. So you went out and got the DVD afterwards. Now that it's on the network, I don't really have the same desire to sit there through the whole event when I can just sit down anytime I want and watch it on the network.
Yeah, and the only person that probably could have got me to even Sting didn't even get me into the Hall of Fame, and I'm watching. I watched NWA ever since I was a little tyke, and it's just, to me, going to that and sitting there for 4 hours just with everything else going on, I saw that as a nice night to just chill or go out on the town or something. So I decided not to. Charles, did you watch NWA WCW back in the day, or were you just mainly a WWE guy too?
I really didn't start really watching WCW until like the Monday Night Wars happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like the stuff that I've seen from NWA and stuff like that is just all stuff I've seen from like documentaries of Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, watching stuff on the network, things like that.
Yeah, and thankfully the network has added World Championship Wrestling. That's the show I watched with my grandma at 5:05 on Saturday afternoons. It was pretty cool. Stan Hansen, of course, the pioneer of the lariat, and also well known for having Red Man sticking out of his mouth while he wrestled.
I mean, again, for me, for someone that wasn't into it wasn't that I wasn't into it. It's just the fact that I was young then, and I knew WWE existed, and that's pretty much where all my time went. And then, I mean, I'm glad I have like stuff like the network now, and before that, documentaries and stuff like that, because I mean, that was an awesome time in wrestling to even watch nowadays. I mean, I still catch myself on the network, still watching the feuds between the Freebirds and the Von Erichs. I mean, I still watch that kind of stuff over and over again when it's on. I just watched.
Rise and Fall.
Yeah,
the Rise and Fall of WCW is an amazing documentary.
I just actually watched that documentary maybe a month ago or so. And I mean, just have that stuff on there and watch that stuff at your own leisure. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Charles, have you been watching the Edge and Christian show that totally reeks of awesomeness?
I have. This week's I've only seen half of it. I have not finished it yet, but I've seen all the other ones so far.
You liking it?
The first episode, kind of but then after that, it picked up. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it more than that first episode. I don't know what was up with that first episode. It just didn't.
See, me and Charles are on the exact same page.
Yeah, and we were talking about that last week, and I think it was probably a pilot that was shot to see if it would get greenlit.
There's like certain moments in the Edge and Christian show that are like obviously better than other moments, and some stuff just seems like filler to me because some stuff is not funny to me. I don't know if it's not like I don't get that sense of humor or whatever, but there's just some stuff on there that's just downright hilarious. Yes, I mean one of the biggest talk things about was the frickin' Sunny drops. That little segment alone at the end of that show was just, I mean, it just made the whole show.
That was brutal. Well, this week we'll talk about the show here in a little bit, but the theme of the show for Edge and Christian was Madness, as March Madness is just around the corner. In fact, the first round starts just next week, so they decided to have themselves a little 16-man bracket, which is called the Bracket of Suckitude, and
which makes me happy because I'm not into college basketball, so I actually have a bracket. Thank you.
Yes, we're going to fill out this bracket, and then we're going to break down how Edge and Christian filled out their bracket when we cover their show later on tonight. But we're going to fill out our own bracket of Suckitude using their 16 guys matched up here. There were some surprises for me here, so we'll have to we'll see how we match up with Edge and Christian going forward. All right, boys, this first one I think seems to be a slam dunk here, but we have Yeti against Akeem.
Are we talking like the Yeti, like Josh?
No.
He does belong on the bracket of Suckitude.
He does.
First round is Josh and Sarah Lee.
Oh.
I mean, how do you feel if you're Sarah Lee and Amanda is already on Total Divas and doing house shows and all kinds of stuff?
Well,
it's kind of hilarious.
I got $250,000 in my pocket, and I smile a lot.
There you go. I mean, I'd take $250,000 to be on a show.
I don't even know who the hell the Yeti is, so I would put Akeem ahead of him. You guys agree?
I would put Akeem above the Yeti, yes.
Yes, yes. I think we all agree that Akeem moves on.
It was a white guy acting like a black guy. Come on. All right,
but it's okay because Slick was with him.
That's true. Yeah, it's not racist. Slick was with him. Here's a heavy hitting first round matchup. Red Rooster against Duke the Dumpster Droese. I got my pick, but I don't know. This is a tough one. Charles, what do you think here?
I would have to go with Red Rooster.
Okay, Matt?
I also go with the Red Rooster.
I'm going Red Rooster ahead of Duke as well, so that wasn't a struggle like I thought it was. Boogeyman versus IRS. Now, I thought IRS was a great gimmick. I don't think it even belongs in this bracket. What do you think, Matt?
It depends on the era of IRS. The Money Inc. era of IRS was pretty solid.
I was just going to say that was
the going around and stealing Razor Ramon's gold chain and stuff. Probably not as much.
But then you got the Boogeyman.
We do have the Boogeyman.
I think we got to put Boogeyman in over IRS.
Breaking clocks and lowering the stock.
Oh,
there you go.
I'm going with IRS. Now wait a minute. Are we picking like who's suckier?
Well, it's kind of a infamous gimmick type of deal.
I want to go with the Boogeyman.
Yeah, I think Boogeyman.
Yeah,
I don't think IRS deserves to be in this.
Yeah, I think we're all going with Boogie.
Yeah.
All right. The Berserker, who is best known for having the shortest Royal Rumble until Santino broke the record, against Bastion Booger.
This could go either way. It really could. This one could go either way.
I'm going to say Bastion Booger sucks more. I mean, Fear the Furry Boots.
Berserker was at least halfway entertaining. Bastion Booger was just fucking disgusting.
All right, then I will go with you guys to prevent any controversy, and we will continue on with Bastion Booger.
I mean, didn't the guys slip on a banana peel and lose a match?
He probably did.
I don't remember. The Headshakers ate 500 pounds of turkey at Survivor Series in the ring. Oh.
God, imagine the guy left 500 pounds of turkey walking to the ring, just coming off of his chest.
That guy, I'm sorry, but I mean, nothing against him, but that guy was just a sight that I didn't want to look at.
Let's stay on this side of the bracket. We got Red Rooster against Akeem.
Oh.
I would go with Akeem.
I would still say that Akeem suck here, yeah.
Okay, we'll go with Akeem. Akeem's going to the Final Four. Boogeyman against Bastion Booger.
It's got to be the Booger, man.
Oh, yeah, Bastion Booger.
Bastion Booger by far. All right, so in the Final Four, we got a matchup of Akeem and Bastion Booger. I think it's a Bastion Booger to the final two, right?
I would
I'm
going to
say Bastion Booger.
Over. Yeah. It's Booger time.
Booger time! It's Booger time in the finals. All right, let's go to the other side of the bracket. Battle Cat, who I don't even know who the fuck is.
I don't even remember Battle Cat. I really don't.
And Giant Gonzalez, who's best known for having the worst Undertaker WrestleMania match. I think this one's pretty simple, boys.
I would go with Gonzalez just because I don't even know who Battle Cat is.
Yep,
I that's my thoughts exactly.
And I've been watching the WWF/WWE since I was 4, and I don't remember Battle Cat at all. Like Max Moon should have been on this before Battle Cat.
Yeah, I don't even. It was. I thought Yeti was a WCW thing.
Maybe I don't.
Maybe Battle Cat was WCW.
That you know what he might have been. That would make sense of why I don't know him.
But almost all of these were WWE. Looking at him.
Yeah, where's the goon?
He's in there. Next up is Zeus versus Doink.
I'm going Zeus. Well,
yeah, I'll lean on Zeus.
I'm going to say Zeus, even though I do like the whole no holds barred stuff.
I have a feeling it's just going to be a losing battle against Giant Gonzalez in the next round anyways, so I don't think it really matters, but it will go Zeus here. Gilbert against the Repo Man. I got to go Gilbert just for the complete fact of came out to sparklers and fire extinguishers.
I'm going to say Gilbert just for the fact that when the Repo Man was around, though, they were like serious about it.
Yeah. He won matches.
He was a serious character.
Like that was a serious character. Gilbert was flat out from minute one a joke.
But Gilbert made me piss my pants on a weekly basis. So
Gilbert did beat Christian though, as we saw on the Edge and Christian show.
I love I'll go with Gilbert, even though I loved Gilbert. He was one of my favorite moments of the Attitude Era. I laughed so damn hard every time he was on TV. I just couldn't control myself. So
our final first round matchup of the bracket of Suckitude is the Goon against Mantar.
I gotta go Mantar, dude.
I'm actually gonna say Mantar.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Mantar was.
Wow. I can't believe someone moved on past the Goon.
Yeah, but when you paired him up with a Mantar, upsets will happen. All right, continuing on the right side of the bracket, next round, Giant Gonzalez against Zeus.
I'm going Giant Gonzalez. He's the only Undertaker match that's not in the highlight reel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy was out of shape, so they had to paint on his abs.
Oh.
Did you really have to give him a furry crotch? For the love of it all, man.
A merkin?
God.
like they wore on Boardwalk Empire.
I guess it makes sense. It's the only way to cover him up.
Gilbert against Mantar.
Wow. I hate the fact that one of these is going to get left behind as not being sucky.
I think Mantar on the prospects that was not a parody, where Gilbert was a parody.
I actually agree with you. This is the fact where I'm going to go, like Repo Man was serious. They were trying to be serious about Mantar, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
This is almost like being serious about Glacier.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so in the final four, on the right side, we have Giant Gonzalez against Mantar in a battle of epic proportions.
Can all four shoulders be to the mat and just have a draw?
There must be a winner.
I have to go Mantar.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do Mantar again. That was just brutal.
Okay. We're at the finals now, boys. Bastion Booger against Mantar. It's got to be the Booger.
Okay, I'm going to pick the Booger just because every time his name comes up, all I think about is a horrifying leg meat that hangs out of his trunks.
There we have it.
And he had a
Booger is full of suckitude.
And he had a duct tape diaper.
I remember seriously being a young kid and watching him come out. Why, for the love of it all, Vince, did you not put pants on that man?
He always had food coming out of his mouth.
Oh,
He had food in his chest hair.
so bad.
All right. So our bracket of Suckitude winner is Bastion Booger. We'll see if Edge and Christian match that.
Do you guys like turkey?
Not.
I mean, go back and
till-
watch that Survivor Series for him and the
Not
head
till I
shrinkers.
sleep. Not till I sleep off the thoughts of Bastion Booger.
Oh, just go back on the network and watch Survivor. I forget what year it is. Survivor Series when he was on a team with the head shrinkers and they ate like 10 turkeys on the way to the ring. You will never like turkey again.
Oh my god. Oh, now what we need is a gimmick battle royal with all 16 of these competitors.
Please no.
Please don't do it at WrestleMania.
Why are you trying to punish us? Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Don't give Vince any ideas.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Although it is a 4-hour show and people do need to go to the bathroom and get snacks.
I still don't know what match I'm getting food in yet.
As we try to pick up this train and put it back on the tracks, some very cool stuff here for especially Ring of Honor fans that don't get Sinclair, but also for just fans of horror movies in general and such. As we know, Comet TV debuted in on Halloween this past year, and Ring of Honor TV airs on Comet right now, and they have just announced that for those viewers that don't receive the broadcast channel of Comet, they stream it the whole channel online. With a live stream. You just got to go to comettv.com/live.html, and there you go. You can watch Ring of Honor live through the old internets and also see what else they have to offer on that channel. So a very cool thing because along with Access TV, Comet was one of the channels that I was hoping to get to add on there.
Oh, you said horror movies. I thought you were talking. My mind got crossed. I thought you were talking about Sonny's new movie. My bad.
Would you like some eggs sunny side up?
I don't want anything sunny.
Boy, is she lucky that she got her freaking Hall of Fame appearance already. She would have been chined right out of there.
She could still get chined right out of there.
That's true. I mean, they're editing freaking. Only a matter of time until something gets released and they edit her out of the Hall of Fame. That's the thing. Stuff like that like people that have confrontations with them now and stuff like that. Will they be in the physical Hall of Fame?
That's a great question.
I mean, will we see like an area for Sonny or something, or however they're going to do it for each superstar that's in the Hall of Fame? I mean, will those people appear that are constantly bad-mouthing them and stuff?
Charles, did you say area or areola? It almost sounded like areola, so I want to clarify.
Officially off the rails.
I tell you what, if it has to do with hers, sorry, Sonny, I wouldn't pay you $1 to Skype you.
Not a chance.
You gotta pay me to Skype.
Seriously, it'd be like Skyping my best friend's grandma.
And somebody got paid to do her in the butt.
Can we move on?
Lucha Underground Season 3 has been announced that it'll go into production the last week of March, and they'll tape episodes all the way through to early May in its original place of Boyle Heights, Los Angeles. So good to see Lucha Underground continuing to get support and continuing to roll, as it is one of the best wrestling shows out there today. It is definitely a must watch if you are able to get the El Rey Network or have the cash to buy it on iTunes. Let's talk some ratings real quick. Total Divas audience has dropped. That's all because Matt said that I don't get to talk about it on the show anymore. So because of that, the ratings for Total Divas has just dropped off a cliff in March. So they're down to 580,000 viewers, which is still almost triple of what TNA pulled in. We'll get to TNA in just a minute.
It is almost triple.
TNA did not hit rock bottom. That rock bottom was 2 weeks ago when they did Lockdown. Crazy enough. But this week they dropped 36,000 viewers down to 222, down from 258 the week before. And, of course, they hit an all-time low when they gave you a pay-per-view for free. Only 210,000 people cared to watch it then. So TNA is starting to settle into that low 200, even though a lot more people have Pop TV.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
And we're not talking about Impact hardly much anymore. So
last week's was pretty decent. This week's was not at all.
I didn't watch that yet.
It was 2 hours of jerking off Kurt Angle. So I mean, if you're a really big Kurt Angle fan, I suggest going out of your way and watching it.
Well,
but if you don't really,
Karen might tune in then. she spent a couple hours jerking him off.
I'm just, if you're not a big Kurt Angle fan, honestly, last night's episode was very skippable.
I'm a Kurt Angle fan, so I'll watch him get jerked off
from beginning to end, pal.
Yeah, to completion. And back to ratings. The Raw rating dropped a little bit. Concern or no? Because typically the Raws leading up to WrestleMania are very promo heavy, not much going on, but shouldn't the audience tune in a little more? What do you guys think?
I always feel Raw's ratings should be going up in WrestleMania season, so anytime they go down, I don't think it's a good thing. But
it's gone down 2 straight weeks. Yeah, I don't know. The third hour definitely took a dive.
I really wish the show was 2 hours again.
First hour took 3.76 million viewers. The final hour way down to 3.27. So
their ratings would be so much higher overall if USA would just let them get rid of the third hour. Mm-hmm. If they just let Raw run from 8 to 10 with the overrun, take it to like 10:20, 10:30 or whatever, I think the ratings overall would be much higher.
Well, oddly enough, the last week's third hour didn't really drop off.
What's the point of the overrun? I mean, I kind of understand with 2 hours, still an over. You have a 3 hour show and you still have, like, there's times they've gone over like 20, 25 minutes.
I absolutely agree with you. On a 3 hour show, there should be no necessary need to have an overrun.
Like, is there something that USA does with their scheduling throughout the week that WWE balances it out by going that far over?
I mean, there's a possibility. I mean, I'm not sure.
They just edit things on the back end for like movies. They'll just edit it for time or whatever, and they'll catch up on that overnights to get back on schedule. So it really doesn't bother them much. But since they've gone to 3 hours, most times it's only about 5 minutes over. Outside of Daniel Bryan,
I was going to say the Daniel Bryan one, they went like 25 minutes over that night.
Most times it's about 5 minutes. Ever since they've gone to 3 hours, they haven't bounced way over 3 hours too often since they've gone to 3 hours. But thank God they did for Daniel Bryan. Otherwise, you would have had a couple of pissed off Joes on the podcast that week.
Yeah, they 100% hate that they inked that deal with USA for 3 hours all the time.
Oh no, they're getting money from them. So
yeah, they're getting money for them, but I don't think if you ask everybody in the WWE that helps put this show together weekly, if they'd rather do Raw 2 hours or 3, I guarantee you 99% of those people probably want a 2 hour show.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't follow, like I said before, I don't follow the dirt sheets and know all that stuff. I don't even really follow ratings. But I mean, the only reason I know is because Triple H himself said on the Stone Cold podcast that writing a 3 hour show is so hard.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be.
Rather drive to 2.
Well, every week without taking a break, yeah. And our final headline of the week here, the latest inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame, well deserved, an icon of the 80s and 90s, is none other than the Big Boss Man. The Big Boss Man started his career with Jim Crockett Promotions in 1986. Also wrestled for the UWF and won their heavyweight title from the One Man Gang before he left for the WWE. And his first run with the WWE became an instant hit with his manager Slick. Was a bad guy. Obviously played his real life persona, the former prison guard out of Cobb County, Georgia. Then of course turned face after he turned on Slick. Then he left for Japan for a brief stint, and then WCW as a Big Brother, the Boss. I think he was Big Bubba Rogers also at a time there. Before returning to the WWE in the Attitude Era, which we all know with his siding with the corporation and all the battles that the Big Boss Man had there. Unfortunately, Boss Man passed away at the early age of 41 back in 2004. But a inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame is definitely a long time coming for the Boss Man. What are your Charles? What were your thoughts on the Big Boss Man and his career, especially where you got to see him in the Monday Night Wars?
I mean, like you said, it's a long time coming. Boss Man needs to be in there. I mean, it's just in this circumstance, it's every time that someone gets put in there that's already passed, it just makes me think that, all the talent that's out there now that they're not wanting to bring into the Hall of Fame for personal reasons, things like that, it just sucks because it'd be cool to have these guys up there, be on stage and be able to have a speech and everything. But, I mean, Boss Man deserves it. I mean, I remember being a kid and watching him, and still to this day, the number one thing that sticks out in my mind, even with the Monday Night Wars and stuff like that, the number one thing that sticks out in my mind is his feud with the Mountie. And when the Mountie went to jail, that was by far was so hilarious. The Mountie played that up so well. It was just that whole feud right there. I loved it. But
Matt, who do you think should be inducted him into the Hall of Fame?
I really don't know. I mean, I think Slick would be a great choice.
Ted DiBiase, I think, would be great.
The Mountie would be hilarious if they let the
Mountie would be awesome.
I think that would be great. Shocker show.
Yeah.
So
he's been up to.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard from him in ages.
It'd be awesome if
being
they
in the
played it up
wrestling
like he's been in prison forever.
Somebody suggested Nails, who played an ex-convict.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Apparently he decked the Boss.
Yeah, he punched Vince McMahon over a payday back in the day. He's not coming to induct the Big Boss Man in the Hall of Fame.
I still remember when they were the Twin Towers, and I believe WrestleMania, they fought the Rockers. When they destroyed the Rockers at WrestleMania, I legitimately could not stand the Big Boss Man and Akeem.
Yeah,
he was devastated.
He was great on both. He was always great on. I thought he was great on both sides of the coin. He was a great face, but even a better heel, especially with the corporation. I thought his career got a great resurgence when he came back to the WWE after that 4 or 5 years in WCW.
I hope they don't let Big Show induct him.
Oh my God!
Oh.
Somebody was mentioning that Big Show's dad should induct him. The reason why we're taking a knee on that is, if you do not remember, Big Show feuded with the Boss Man in the early part of the millennium, and Boss Man infiltrated Big Show's dad's funeral, hooked up the casket to his hearse that he's driving, and drives away with the casket and Big Show riding on the casket. It was such a horrible moment that you could not help but laugh when you saw it live on TV.
I would love to see the Mountie do it, but if not the Mountie, Al Snow.
Al Snow, yeah.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
I think he's still with TNA, though. If he's not with TNA, Al Snow would not be bad.
Yeah.
I personally, I like the Mountie idea. I think that would be great.
What a better way to bury the hatchet? He made you eat your dog.
Wasn't Flair in the either in the Hall of Fame or speaking while he was in TNA?
At one point, I remember he was during Shawn Michaels' speech. He was in the audience, but he wasn't allowed to mention him.
Mm.
I mean, Flair when they inducted the Horsemen, Flair was in TNA. And the agreement that the companies made at that time was when they had Christian appear at that TNA pay-per-view and announce Sting was going into the TNA Hall of Fame. It was kind of like a talent swap thing for one night that allowed that to happen. So I can't imagine they're going to do that again.
About the smartest thing Dixie Carter's ever done.
Oh, Dixie Carter.
Dixie could just do us a favor and let Vince McMahon buy her tape library.
Please.
Dude, there's so many great, like, TNA from, like, 2003 to, like, 2009, 2010 was awesome. You know, but, like, the last 5 or so years of that company, it just feels like it's dying a slow death, like, each and every year. And it
would still be great to have an entire chronicle of Sting, AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy,
the Dudley Boys.
The Dudley Boys. It would be great to have an entire chronicle. The day's gonna come where Vince buys the library. Or Triple H or Shane or whoever. You know, that day is gonna come. TNA. I don't know how many cats they got in the back, but a lot of those 9 lives of those cats have gone, and they've lost a lot of cats along the way. But I think they still have a few cats back there. But there might be a bomb in the cat factory eventually, and all those lives are going to be destroyed. And that's when the TNA tape library comes to the WWE network for only $9.99 a month.
Well, I mean, it's only a matter of time until people get sick of seeing money go out of their bank account and not come back in.
Yeah, hey, invest in us. Yeah. We pull in $200,000 people a week on the TV Guide channel that everybody gets almost.
It's really sad.
NXT this week.
Holy crap. Does anything else need to be said?
I love how they played it off like we're going to have more stuff on the show tonight. No. The whole show was 2 out of 3 falls. Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn. Obviously, it's going to be our second entry into the NXT Match of the Year Marquee Awards to go with the triple threat that started the whole shenanigans for this number 1 contendership. The match started out slow, which hell, you're gonna do a 45-minute match. It definitely started out slow, but it was high drama all the way. Joe caught Sami Zayn with a muscle buster for the first fall. Most of the match was just Joe destroying Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn selling it like a champ. He looked legitimately like he was getting the fuck beat out of him.
Because it was.
Yeah, pretty much.
Joe's stiff, man.
And Zayn kind of fires back after the first fall, and Joe slipped up, and Zayn landed the Koji clutch, made Joe tap out. Joe did try to fight it off for a little bit, but once the match got tied at 1 falls apiece, that third fall, holy fuck, the doors are blown out, and the pace quickened. It was amazing. And Zayn hitting the blue thunder bomb on Joe, and you're like, holy shit, this could be it right here. He actually got Joe up for the blue thunder bomb. But in the end, Zayn was on another run. And Zayn went for the haluva kick and missed, and that enabled Joe to slap on the coquina clutch, and Sammy didn't tap out, he passed out, and the ref calls the bell. So the winner of the third fall was Samoa Joe. He'll go on to take on Finn Balor at NXT TakeOver Dallas. Matt, that was the entire show. What'd you think of this 2 out of 3 falls match, man?
I thought it was amazing. I loved it from start to finish. I like how the commentary was recorded recently to touch on Sammy being at Raw on Monday. I think that adds a lot to the broadcast that TNA can learn from. I mean, I know you tape your shows far in advance, and so does NXT a lot of the time. But the way they run their commentary team, it doesn't feel like it. And I think it's done very well. I love the fact that they they did the Holly Holm finish before the Holly Holm finish happened on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
And they legitimately, they taped this match weeks ago, but that's exactly how the Holm UFC fight ended. The passing out to the rear naked choke. I thought it was great, and it was very timely for this episode to air right after the rear naked choke pretty much dominated UFC on Saturday night. That NXT was able to capitalize on the move as well without even knowing it. It was great. I loved it.
And if anybody of you on social media sees a jobber saying that WWE copied them, please retweet them and say, you're a fucking dumbass. This was taped weeks ago.
Makes it even better, too, that, like Matt said, they went back and redid commentary because Corey Graves touched on that. He even mentioned McGregor and Holmes both tapping out to that move.
Yeah.
Well, one passing out, one tapping out.
And it's crazy because, it's weird how they... I don't know how they do it because, obviously they're there live and they got their own commentary, but sometimes you could tell when they have got something dubbed over, which is mainly just something they're pimping, and it just sounds completely different. But I wonder,
dude, it sounded to me like they recorded the entire match this week. Like the commentary was that good. Like I didn't notice anything out of place. I would not be surprised if they sat down Tuesday afternoon in a studio and recorded the commentary track over this match again.
They did a great job.
It was really, really good.
Because they're in the arena. They cut to them every once, at the beginning of the show and whatnot. So they did a real good job there. What did you take out of that 2 out of 3 falls match, Charles?
I thought it was an awesome match. I mean, look at Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn. I mean, they're not going to put on a bad match. I mean, I'm actually glad with the outcome. I mean, I have my own thoughts in my head of where this is going to go leading into TakeOver. What I see going into TakeOver is, I don't want to give out predictions. I guess I will. But I see Finn Balor dropping the belt.
Yeah, it might be the time. William Regal started out the show. He announced that Austin Aries had asked not to have Corbin suspended, only to have him take on Baron Corbin at TakeOver in Dallas. So I don't know if that'll be Aries' first match on NXT. I doubt it. But I don't look ahead on the tapings. But I know he's been wrestling a lot because I know him and Balor tagged once. Because of course we get to see a lot of the fun Finn Balor Bailey endings to house shows for NXT. So I know, and one of those was Aries and Balor were tagging together. So there's another one added to what's already going to be a phenomenal card at NXT TakeOver. Depending on what happens Saturday at Roadblock, we might get a triple threat for the tag titles added on to all that.
I'm really hoping so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping we get new tag champs.
Dude,
yep, that's what I'm saying. Makes that
who got on your case this week on Twitter? Charles, was it Dash or Dawson? I can't remember.
Dawson. I tweeted Dawson and I said, I was actually in the NXT live shows, and while I was there in Cleveland, I actually yelled that at him, and I didn't get a response out of it. I yelled it to I think Dash at the show, but on Dawson, I seen him say something about facing the tag champs or something like that, and I told him to enjoy his last week with the tag titles, and he replied back, "Unfollow me, nerd," which is great. Yes, I actually legitimately went and checked to see if he blocked me or something, and he didn't, because it's just like, that's just so awesome, because he's a bad guy wrestler. He should say that.
Oh, absolutely.
That's so great. I love it. And to watch them guys in live shows where they're not on TV and the way that they interact compared to being on TV is so great. And they play that heel role so well with the way that they banter back and forth with the crowd and things like that. It's so good. Like, literally, Wilder, I yelled at him, and when they how they clank the tag belts together, and I said, "You're gonna break them," and he says, "You can't break gold, stupid." And I instantly thought to myself, did he not see Mr. Perfect smash the title? Where's this guy at?
Hammer.
What's the product?
Have you seen the Hardcore Championship? That was made of gold.
Yeah.
So what were your Charles? What were your thoughts with NXT in Ohio? You got meet a lot of people at the Arnold Classic I saw on Facebook there.
Yeah, the first show I went to was what was it, Friday night? I went to the NXT here in Cleveland. It was the third show they've come back here for, and they shoot up here after their Thursday night show. It was kind of weird because they actually did something different at the Columbus show Thursday night and the Cleveland show Friday night, is where they actually made up like old style match cards that you could buy on like a mini size poster type thing, and you can get a regular version for $15, or you can get it fully autographed by everybody on the card for like $75. Wow. And I just bought like the $15 one just to have it. But what was weird is our card here in Cleveland, what they have advertised on the card, most of the matches were completely switched. So, yeah, like they had a singles match. I think it was, what was it? It was like they actually were going to have a singles match, and then some of them turned into tag matches, and then certain female wrestlers were matched up to be in a tag match, and then they ended up doing a one-on-one match with somebody. I mean, it was very weird that they switched up. It seemed like it happened a lot with the Divas. They switched up Diva matches for whatever reason. So we were supposed to see singles matches in certain places, then, I don't know, they switched it up. Columbus followed the card to a T, but in Cleveland, I don't know if it was they didn't have faith in doing that card again, or, I mean, we had completely different cards, but I don't know. They just decided to switch up Cleveland's, and which is weird because you have people that pay $75 for an autographed card. That person, in the instance of, I think it was Alexa Bliss, actually went one-on-one with Bayley, and she, I believe, was supposed to be in a tag match on the actual card. So, I mean, it was very weird. I don't have the card in front of me, but the best probably match of the night was the main event. It was the Fatal 4-Way with Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, and Baron Corbin. I mean, or no, I'm sorry, not Baron Corbin, but who would I miss? Samoa Joe, Baron Corbin, fought Apollo Creed, I believe. I don't know. But it was awesome. I posted the finisher actually on there to see Apollo Creed do his backflip and then Finn Balor jump off the ropes and land on his back with the coup de grace was pretty awesome.
How were the people that you got to meet?
Actually, everybody that I've met was pretty cool. The first person I met was actually when I first arrived there. And by the way, if anybody's never been to the Arnold Classic, if you're in Ohio or even around Ohio, I recommend going there. I didn't know how cheap it was to actually go to that show until Friday night when I was standing in line at the Cleveland NXT show. You pay $20 for a convention ticket, and you see all of the NXT stuff there for that $20. That's it. So $20 parking, and you're in there to watch 8 hours of NXT wrestling, and they even do like training sessions. But anyways, I was there. I got there like 10 o'clock, and right when I'm standing there waiting for NXT stuff to start, Kurt Angle walks by.
Whoa.
And he was going to be doing a signing at some booth. I don't even know what the booth was. But I was like, hey, man, they haven't started anything, so I'll go see if I can talk to Kurt or something. And I walked over there. He's taking pictures and talking to people and kids and stuff. And I asked him if I can get a picture. And he says, yeah, sure, no problem. So I took a picture with him. And I mean, I could have stayed there and probably talked to him. I just told him, it'd be awesome to see in WWE. And he said, I don't even remember what his reply was. I don't even think he had one. He was very like soft-spoken when he was that day.
He's honestly, when I've met him, he was very soft-spoken as well.
Yeah. So I was
which is very far cry from what he portrays on television. He's a very soft-spoken person when you meet him.
Just give it time, kid. Give it time.
But then it was almost like, oh, okay, this is cool. I'm meeting Kurt Angle, but I have to get back over to NXT because I want to stand by the barricade, dang it. So I had to hurry and get back over there, so I had a good spot to watch all the NXT stuff. But other than that, I didn't think I was going to get to meet anybody else. But after the whole NXT thing was done, they did the last match and everything, I looked down where they have curtains lining the whole stage area. I seen Gable and Jordan over there just hanging out talking to people. So I went over there, talked to him a little bit and, asked Gable first if I could get a picture. He's like, oh, yeah, man, no problem. Talked to him, told him his matches were awesome because that day alone, him and Jordan, I think, competed in 4 matches. And some
Holy crap.
Yeah, some were singles competition. So, I mean, they were out there at least 4 to 5 times. And they're all singles matches, too.
I like Gable's face when that picture you took.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Also,
but both of them were super nice. Emma was great. She played that, I'm being nice to you guys, taking pictures with you, but also I'm going to be a heel at the same time because she took a picture of some little kid, and then some other little kid was like, can I get a picture? And she's like, no. I'm just kidding. And so she was kind of playing the heel, but also being nice to people out there. Alexa Bliss, super cool. I'm guaranteeing 100% that I
Here's a
don't blame
sample
her.
of Super Bowl 50 remix.
Oh,
Thanks, Amazon. I hate you. Oh my gosh!
That's not the first time that's happened on the show.
Oh my gosh! Sometimes I hate that I bought that thing.
I have that. I have one too. So
Yes,
it's happened before.
I haven't used it in a while, and then it surprises me. But anyways, the blonde girl on NXT, which is very hard. The girl
I've been calling her Miss Bliss now.
There you go. Yes, we'll call her Bliss. Bliss, she was super cool. Even though that both events that I went to and seen her, I told her that Bayley was hotter than her just to get a reaction out of her, and I got a reaction both times.
Did she recognize you when you went up to her?
If she did, she didn't say anything, which I don't blame her if she didn't. But no, she didn't say anything. I thought she's still super nice to everybody over there to take a picture.
She's got the best ass in the business, though, man. Woo.
I will say William Regal. That guy is probably got to be one of the nicest guys and most humble guys that I've ever met from a wrestling superstar. Like came out there, super soft spoken, super nice to everybody, signing autographs, taking pictures. That was really cool. And that's the thing. I mean, I don't even ever really I get the whole thing of autographs, but I never really want autographs. I'd rather have a picture with somebody to say, man, I met this, this is a cool dude. But yeah, I mean, it's just cool. I'm not one of the people either. It's like, just because, I mean, Matt knows I've been to a lot of wrestling game events and stuff, so I've met a lot of these people. I don't do the whole mark out thing. But it's cool to meet these people, and I just like to, it's cool to see these guys on TV, but then to realize how nice a lot of them are and how cool they are, and they're just normal people like everybody else. And it's cool to sit down and talk to some of them.
Yeah, I hope to run into some of them. I obviously probably not at TakeOver, but hopefully at Access beforehand.
Yeah.
Because I'll be going to Access. It's at the same place, so I'll be going to Access on that Friday before the NXT TakeOver show, and so hopefully I'll get to run into some of those people while everybody's in the big lines for the big stars. Yeah. Hopefully I can run into some NXT people.
I've heard the horror stories of how people mess certain people, and they're just like, oh my gosh, they're super mean and jerk offs and everything else. The only person I've ever had a problem with was years and years ago when Rock came back in Philly at the Raw and stood by the Rock statue and stuff. I seen Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon and the coach and stuff like that in the hotel bar, and Devon and them. Bubba Ray Dudley, not Devon, but Bubba Ray Dudley was a jerk. He was a jerk to everybody there. I mean, the police got called because he got in a fight. So yeah.
Do you know who I am?
And then my cousin's nephew and stuff. I mean, I've only met him once. I usually give people the benefit of the doubt. You do it twice, and then it's like, okay, yeah, you're a jerk. But I mean, my best friend at the time's nephew accidentally flashed a picture. Literally did not even take a picture of him. He looks over, did you take a picture of me? And he's like, no, he actually took a picture over there. And he was like, okay. But then went back to the dealing with the police that got called. But I mean, whatever.
That's cool. Yeah, hopefully I get to run into some people there. Shit.
But I 100% recommend it if anybody even has a chance or lives close to go to the Arnold Classic for NXT. Mm-hmm. They said at the end of the show this year that they're coming back next year and they're going to be even bigger and better than before. They're bigger than last year. I mean, they almost had like a full-size Titantron and everything else there this time instead of just a mini thing. So they are getting bigger and getting a bigger area every year. So I would look for something pretty huge next year. And I mean, $20. I mean, you can't beat it to have 8 hours of NXT, and then you get to see some people that are actually William Regal and Sarah Del Rey and all of them will actually bring people out that are actually going to train in front of you for the first time and try to compete to get a spot at the Performance Center and be trained down there. So there's like a half hour or so of them bringing on like prospects and stuff like that and having them do all the crazy stuff. Well, not all of it. Some of it that they do down there at the Performance Center, and then have possibly a chance to come down there and continue to train. So to see that kind of stuff and see some of the stuff they put them through was pretty awesome.
Awesome, good deal. Thanks for sharing that, man. Yeah, I believe the Arnold Classic last year was the very first time they went on the road. So
yeah,
and obviously they're selling out everywhere now on the road, and 2016 going to be bigger and better for NXT. So exciting to see what they bring to the table at the Arnold Classic next year. Well, we get to see, but we get to see what they bring this year here. I would believe. I don't know, probably sometime after WrestleMania, I would assume.
Yeah, definitely if NXT comes to people listening's areas, definitely at least go to one show, and you'll probably never want to miss one again.
I would agree with that. I went to my first NXT show last year in San Jose, and like the time it was going on, Since I live on the East Coast, I was sitting there in an audience screaming my head off at like 4 a.m. in the morning Eastern time, and the show was so great that you didn't even realize how tired you were. So yeah, I can't wait to go to Takeover Dallas, and anytime NXT's in your neck of the woods, I agree with Charles. Go, you will not regret it.
All right, let's talk Ring of Honor television here this week. We have still not caught up from the 14th anniversary pay-per-view, so we're still on television. We're still just kind of floating along until we get caught up with some new tapings there. But this week on Ring of Honor television, we got the finals of the Top Prospect Tournament. Lio Rush against Brian Fury, and these guys had themselves a hell of a match. And for two guys that people are not familiar with in Ring of Honor, the crowd definitely took to them. Obviously, this was the third time this crowd had seen them, as I believe the entire tournament was all filmed in one spot there. But
no, only the semis and the finals were. First round was filmed in North Carolina.
Okay. But these guys definitely put on a good show, and Matt, good job. You correctly predicted that Lio Rush would win the Top Prospect Tournament, but I think Brian Fury he has a good future as a heel, I think, in the company, don't you think?
Brian Fury had a good showing, but he's also been wrestling.
He's a vet.
Yeah, he's been wrestling for like 16 or 17 years. This tournament really wasn't for a guy like him. This was definitely more for somebody like Lio Rush, who's only been in the business for a year. As I said before, he was tag partners with Patrick Clark of Tough Enough fame and Maryland Championship Wrestling. I've seen the kid live. He's really good, really talented. Really happy that he's with Ring of Honor now, and I look forward to seeing what opportunities arise for him in the future now.
It's just insane when they go to the tail of the tape for Lio Rush and they show Pro Debut 2015, and you're like, what? Holy shit.
It surprises me that Patrick, like, why is he not at the Performance Center?
He is.
He is.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's signed. He actually, when you were watching,
not too long ago.
When you were watching the NXT show in Cleveland, he was wrestling
Citrus Springs?
NXT house show down in Florida.
Oh, okay, yeah, they were doing the Citrus Springs show.
Yep.
I was kind of bummed that I didn't get to see the future tag champs.
Yeah, they main evented down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like 6 out of the 10 finalists of Tough Enough are all down in the Performance Center right now. They almost signed everybody. It's kind of ridiculous.
Which is great because, like I said, I mean, great to hear that because I don't follow all the behind the scenes type stuff, but I didn't know that he was down there. I mean, he's one of the guys that definitely should have been down there.
Oh, absolutely. I was really glad that they hired him.
And one of them's in TNA trying to get on Bobby Lashley.
Who's in TNA?
Gabby.
No, jeez.
Yeah, of all the people TNA chose to sign out of that group, they got Gabby, Charles.
That's because everybody else went down to the PC.
You know what? Every time she was on Tough Enough, all I did was feel sorry for her husband.
Oh.
I mean, seriously, I mean, it just looks like that he's like her meal ticket.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Next match on Ring of Honor, Congo Kong. That's a beefy guy.
This guy was like the second coming of Bastion Booger.
Oh my God!
I'll tell you what. I was not impressed with this man.
That singlet was not flattering.
No, it was not at all.
I thought something I didn't want to see was going to fly out of that thing. He took on Moose. This was a pretty lengthy match.
I've never seen this guy in Ring of Honor before, and honest to God, I hope I never see him again.
There was a lot of flopping going along, and a lengthy match too. But in the end, obviously, Moose is going to go over here as he hits the spear. We see a clip of Cheeseburger confronting Mike Posey. I don't even know who Mike Posey is, but apparently he's got a group with him called the Get Along Gang, and that whole thing was just weird.
It was awful.
There's a chick in there named America that is clearly a ripoff of China, and like, how TNA of you to do that?
Yeah, it's not good. It was definitely like, I'm glad that it was obvious the Ring of Honor taped it with intentions to put it on TV, and then looked back on how bad it was and decided just to show the highlights. And for that, I appreciate Ring of Honor for having the sense to acknowledge, yeah, this wasn't really good. Let's just show the highlights of what we meant to accomplish here for Cheeseburger and move on.
Yeah, because like in the top prospect finals, Kevin Kelly's later on the show, Cheeseburger, and like we're gonna get something, and then they just show that package.
Yeah.
Adam Page against Cedric Alexander with Veda Scott in her ring gear. Holy fuck, does she look hot in that ring gear? This match really didn't go anywhere because BJ Whitmer came out and started beating up on Adam Page, and then Jonathan Gresham came in and kind of made the save. So a very unlikely duo between Gresham and Adam Page, but they stand tall as BJ backs off there. But I like the attack by BJ. This Adam Page and BJ feud should rightfully go on for a while. Just considering the history they have, Matt.
Yeah, as long as Paige ends up going over in the end, I'm fine.
I highly expect that to happen. Silas Young on commentary for the main event of the evening, Christopher Daniels against Dalton Castle. And this was a phenomenal match. Of course, these are two of my favorite guys in Ring of Honor. Me being a big fan of Daniels for a long time, and then, of course, being a Ring of Honor fan for about a year now. Dalton Castle is one of my favorite guys there. But in the end, Silas Young on commentary, he didn't really get involved too much in the match, but in the end, Castle hits the bangerang, but instead Kazarian grabs the leg, and then that allows Daniels to get out of it, hit the Angel's Wings for the 3 count. So the losing streak for Dalton Castle continues, and then after that,
the feud that just won't die continues.
It's gonna finally die soon, though.
I hope so, because I'm more than tired of this feud. I was tired of this feud 6 months ago.
I loved this feud.
I know you do.
But apparently hopefully the final nail in the coffin, as Dalton says he wants a fight without honor. So
with Silas Young.
With Silas Young. So that's got to be the final nail in the coffin.
I hope so. Please end it.
All right, this week in pro wrestling, we're going to go through a couple of highlights from last week as well, because I just didn't have my notes with me because I was homesick from work on Wednesday. But thankfully, I was able to do the podcast, so it's all good. This week in 1953, happy birthday to one of the greatest of all time, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. In 1992, Barry Horowitz defeats Ben Jordan for the GWF Light Heavyweight title in Dallas, Texas. This began Horowitz's second reign. Back in the jobber days of the WWE, Matt, Barry Horowitz was probably one of the best, don't you agree?
Barry Horowitz and the Brooklyn Brawler. I think Charles could tell you a thing or two about Barry Horowitz.
Oh, yeah? What do we got, Charles?
No one touches Barry Horowitz, dude. Handprint vest and all. Best gimmick alive.
I loved it when he actually finally got that win. Bret Hart, right?
Barry Horowitz had a feud with Skip of the Body Donnas, Chris Candido, and got a big win over Chris at, I think it was at SummerSlam. Was it SummerSlam, Charles?
I think it might have been SummerSlam. I'm not 100% sure.
So
it's
it was
a travesty.
It was
100% travesty that the man never had gold.
So it was Skip, the guy that he got his first win against?
His first big win that they made a big deal out of, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I thought Bret Hart.
I don't ever remember him beating Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Trust me, it should have happened.
This week in 2000, the sad state of WCW, as the Monday Night Wars were clearly being won by the WWF at the time. WWF with a 6.5 rating to WCW's 2.1 rating. Here's the fun fact, though. Target Center in Minneapolis in 2000, pretty brand new place, don't you agree? 4,600 people filled that arena. The main event, Sid Vicious beat Tank Abbott to retain the heavyweight title. Where WWE's main event, The Rock defeated Big Show and Triple H in a handicap match. And so...
I can't even begin to fathom which one I was watching.
Yeah. WCW champ Sid was 39 years old at the time, while Triple H was 30 at the time. And, of course, it's been well documented the lack of developing young talent was one of the downfalls for WCW. This week in 2012, WWF's Tough Enough 2 debuts on MTV, And the competition was won by Jackie Gata and Linda Miles, and also featured future WWE and TNA star Matt Morgan along with Kenny King. And I don't even remember Linda Miles at all.
She did like a dominatrix gimmick for the Passion Brothers. And I think that was about all she ever did.
I didn't realize Kenny King was in that.
I didn't either until you said it. I don't remember Kenny King being in that, but I mean, it's so long ago. I don't doubt it.
This week in 2010, WWE released Charlie Haas. This week in 2011, Jericho is announced for Dancing with the Stars. And this week in 2011, Bob Armstrong is announced for the WWE Hall of Fame. And then we get a special Leap Day edition of this week in pro wrestling. Leap Day, of course, the very first time this year, Monday Night Raw fell on a Leap Day. But a couple other things that happened on Leap Day were in 1992, WCW held their second annual Super Brawl pay-per-view in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Big because this is when Sting defeated Lex Luger for his first ever World Heavyweight Championship. And then in 2008, WWE.com on Leap Day decided to add a section called Industry News to give out stories from other promotions. And Matt, that went well, didn't it?
Not really.
And it was canned in about a year later. And we can add that in 2016, we can add a shitty Monday Night Raw was on Leap Day. Booker T, born in Houston, Texas, this week in 1965. Bam Bam Bigelow and Big Van Vader defeated Hiroshi Hase and Keiji Muto for the IWGP World Tag Team titles. Matt, Charles, do you guys ever recall Bigelow and Vader ever being a tag team in the States? That'd have been an awesome tag team to watch, I think.
I don't recall that, no.
No, I don't recall it either, but I think it would have been, I agree, I think it would have been awesome.
Oh, man.
Put them together in a video game.
Yeah.
Bam Bam Bigelow to me is an underrated big man. People don't think about him enough when it comes to like big, agile men.
Absolutely.
When it comes to wrestling.
Yeah, he was awesome. Definitely ahead of his time.
Definitely.
A lot of people think just think of Lawrence Taylor when they think of him, but there's so much more.
Could you imagine like a WrestleMania big build match of Bam Bam Bigelow versus Kevin Owens?
Oh
man.
God.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, that'd have been a dream match.
I might have that on 2K16 this weekend.
Yes.
Bam Bam Bigelow sounds great. I just think that sounds great.
Bam Bam Bigelow invades Matt's universe. This week in 2005, at a SmackDown taping in Albany, New York, Orlando Jordan defeats John Cena to win the United States title, ending Cena's second reign. That is odd.
Is that's to me in 2016? That's unfathomable to hear that.
I know. I know. Orlando Jordan.
What the hell? I don't even remember that.
I think this was his time with JBL and
Cabinet.
And
I do not remember him beating John Cena for a championship.
I remember him holding the title. I don't remember him getting it from Cena. But yeah, how
I don't even remember him holding the title.
Yeah, I do. So I do. 1993 in WCW, one of the most an underrated tag team in its own right. Steve Austin and Brian Pillman, the Hollywood Blondes, defeated Shane Douglas and Ricky Steamboat for the WCW World Tag Team Championships. And Macon, Georgia, the only tag team reigned for the Hollywood Blondes.
Speaking of which, I was really upset they didn't get Shane Douglas for 2K16 because I think this match should have been in. I think that match should have been in Austin Showcase.
Exactly.
Last year.
Exactly.
I thought they missed out on having Douglas, and I thought they should have had the Sandman, too, to flesh out his ECW time a little bit better.
Exactly. And it wasn't the Hollywood Blondes thing just kind of an extra side type of thing in the
his
timeline?
WCW and ECW matches were side missions, I guess you could say, in the timeline of the game.
In 2011, ROH champion Roderick Strong and El Generico signed deals with Ring of Honor. Of course, we know El Generico is Sami Zayn nowadays, and Roddy Strong, of course, one of the best wrestlers in Ring of Honor. And this week in 2011, WWE filed the trademark of Sheriff Austin. I wish they would use that.
Oh man, do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Oh jeez.
You're actually wearing a badge?
Yes, he was.
What? This week in 1974, Santino Marella was born in Ontario. What? You mean he's not Italian?
Will you stop?
Oh. Also born in this week, 1976, Mr. I fucked up my WWE career.
Ouch.
Because I was always injured.
I fucked up my WWE career. This week in 2008, Matt Morgan signed a deal to bring him into NBC's American Gladiators, playing the character known as the Beast. I personally loved the reboot of American Gladiators.
So did I.
Yeah, I wish they'd do it again. And of course, the original. The original, you can get I think it's a 3 or 4 disc set of the original American Gladiators for only $10 on Amazon.
Really?
Little tip there. Yeah, look up
I
American Gladiators.
might have to
DVD.
look into that.
Was that on DVD?
Uh-huh.
Huh.
This week in 2013, Sami Zayn is revealed as the official ring name for the guy formerly known as El Generico. A couple more birthdays. Rick Steiner was born in 1962, and the hot and very bendy Melina was born in 1980. And finally this week in history, Jeff Hardy announced that he'd married his longtime girlfriend, Beth. All right, let's talk a little Edge and Christian. And a couple of notes from last week that we didn't get to. Matt, the segment where they did the entrances of the 1990s, I thought that was pretty good.
Oh yeah, dude, it was hilarious.
I loved how they threw the Brood in there too. Hey, at least they knew how to do the Brood entrance still.
Yes, they didn't forget.
I just loved Christian just prancing around doing the beefcake dance with the cutting the scissors.
I love that when the Brood came up, even though they were in that entrance, they both acted like Gangrel.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the sippy cup.
Yeah, they both acted like him.
I think at
and
that
not
point,
themselves.
everybody wanted to be Gangrel.
Another thing we didn't cover from last week, Edge and Christian rips off the mean tweets from Kimmel. Where's Matt Hardy in this whole thing?
I liked the mean tweets. I thought that was funny.
Some of my favorites were Dean Ambrose looks like a cute wet rat, Illy Dean.
Didn't even make any sense.
Tommy Dreamer's hair looks like it was painted on, aside from the bald spot in the back. I think we should get hashtag blame Byron Twinding for whenever the network isn't working. I think Matt started that tweet.
I did not.
Oh, you stop. And the Big Show's reactions to his own tweets were pretty funny as well. And then we got, of course, we talked about Vince and Trips in Gorilla as puppets. I think that should be its own show.
I 100% agree with that. I would love to watch an entire show of the Puppet H and the Puppet Vince. Because those tiny segments have been hysterical.
When they did the promos for Edge and Christian show, that was the number one thing I was excited about was for Puppet H.
Yeah.
Puppet. The one thing we forgot to mention somehow was the fact that Vince said he would rather watch a 10-hour Best of Great Khali collection. Oh, they're burying their best export out of India.
Like they really, if they're not, I would love it if they were already working on it. But if they're not already working on it, they are missing the boat on having using the Vince McMahon puppet and Puppet H and stuff like that, and making their own Muppets show for the network.
No shit.
I'd be all over that. I would be all over that.
That would be so awesome. I mean, I really can't wait for the Camp WWE. That looks so awesome.
Yeah, and if you have a Muppets version, Edge and Christian have to play Vince and Trips.
we would have freaking Camp WWE already if they wouldn't have to replace so many people. First they had to take out CM Punk, then they had to take out Hulk Hogan, and it's just like, oh my god, just leave them in and give us the show, because I just want to see the show because it looks hysterical.
This week's show, once again the theme is madness, and Matt, Charles, would you guys buy ladder matches?
No, I would not.
And light them on fire? Hey, come on! They could be great props for your WWE action figures.
I guess it all depends on how much it costs and if it came with one of their cards and a stick of bubblegum.
Robert Flores from ESPN joins Edge and Christian He's a big WWE fan, and JBL name drops him every fucking time Neville goes to the top rope for a red arrow.
I don't know. He rags on Coach more than Flores.
No, he said Roflo a lot in the beginnings. When now he's talking. Now I think he's been coached to say Coach but when Neville was first on the main roster, he said Roflo, get the top 10 ready or whatever the fuck. Am I old, or are they showing stuff that just hasn't happened on the show yet? Like
both
dressing up. Yeah, well. The best was dressing up like a horse and sneaking onto HBK's ranch.
I think those were just done as jokes. I don't think none of that actually, like, they didn't really film any of that stuff for the show. It was just small little ha-ha clips.
Like, I wonder if that like, they really got Shawn Michaels to do that thing, or if that's from, like, one of his hunting shows.
I think they probably took that from his hunting show.
I would guess so.
That'd be my guess. Oh, and of course we love the show's announcer Funaki. This week he's dressed up like a knight with a little girl's play castle in the background. Hey, and Edge and Christian finally recognize that he's the announcer, so that's nice of them. So the bracket of Suckitude is unveiled, determining the most infamous gimmick of all time, and they decide to break the brackets down with Stardust and some elementary students. And they go with Akeem over Yeti. They went different route with Duke over the Dumpster Drosy over the Red Rooster. They took the Boogeyman over the IRS. They took the Booger over the Berserker. They took Giant Gonzalez over Battlecat, Zeus over Doink. They went Repo Man over Gilbert. I think it was only because Gilbert Christian put him over once.
Yeah.
The best part was that little girl. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't either. And Mantar over the Goon, so only a couple of differences there. And they bring back in Roflo to break down the bracket into the third round. They take Akeem over Duke. They go Boogeyman over Bastion Booger, Zeus over Giant Gonzalez, and Repo Man over Mantar. This is when I think their bracket breaks down. Don't you guys agree?
Yeah, they screwed up. Our bracket's better.
Our bracket is much better. Zeus? Come on, man. Repo Man over Mantar? Come on, man.
Jobbers.
That's just pitiful.
It's time for another edition of EC Dubs, and this time they put words into the mouths of the Bushwhackers. Papa Shango, he's sure pretty famous on the show. Earthquake and Coco Beware, I thought those were pretty funny. Edge and Christian stumble into Stardust's lair, and so then they discover the final four. They go Boogeyman over Akeem and Zeus over Repo Man. So with this final four that they got, do you think they got it right with Boogeyman over Akeem and Zeus over Repo Man?
The fact that Bastion Booger's not in there is a travesty.
I agree.
We're just going with what they gave us.
No, I say they got it wrong.
Okay.
Jobbers.
And then after that, Edge and Christian interrogates Stardust to where the hell Cody Rhodes is. And then you get yourselves a nice little hand job joke before Cody himself yells, "Cut!"
That was great.
What? How were they both in the same room at the same time?
I loved it.
I miss Cody. Jump Stain Challenge comes back this week. Edge is up 1-0. And their second challenge was a tie. They did not have a challenge on the third episode. They show an up-close little square of a superstar. It is still in the same kind of infamous gimmick kind of deal there. And I thought some of those were tough. I only got two of them right. I got Bam Bam, Bigelow. That was obvious, and I pulled Flash Funk out of my ass. But those are pretty tough. What did you guys think?
I got more than you did. I didn't get Flash Funk, though.
Yeah, I got Flash Funk. I probably should have got Earthquake. I think that might.
Yeah, I got Quake. Neither of them did.
Christian pulls out the last two to win 3-2, and so now the Jump Stain Challenge is tied at 1. Time to pick the winner of the bracket, and none other than the coach himself, Jonathan Coachman, breaks down the finals and says Boogeyman defeats Zeus in a landslide. I say he defeated Zeus because he has a Legends contract and he could easily be called to appear on a show.
I'm not touching that one.
Conspiracy.
So we have Bastion Booger. They have Boogeyman.
I think our booger's better.
Our booger.
But in the end, is either one of them really better?
But that's the point.
Still real to me, dang it.
Love it. Gotta love it.
Christian thought it was all a dream, and he wakes up in his little beanbag thingy and looks over. I'm the boogeyman, and I'm coming to get ya. And Christian screams like a girl. Is this stuff, the end of the show, is that outtakes, cut scenes, or stuff that's coming up in future episodes?
I think it's stuff that's coming up in future episodes.
Yeah, they kind of went through a litany of stuff there. All right, SmackDown for this week. And got ourselves a good promo to start the show here by Dean Ambrose. And then Kevin Owens shows up and is wondering why Ambrose is out there spewing all his crap. And so it was a pretty good back and forth. I've always enjoyed the interactions between Owens and Ambrose, and I think we'll see them feud for the WWE World Heavyweight title sometime in the future. I think that's almost a given. Usos take on the League of Booty, and pretty decent tag match there. League of Booty, they're setting them up with a feud with the New Day, so they go over the Usos, and then of course the Dudley Boys come out, and I don't know. We talked about this last week, but we'll talk about this with Charles real quick. Are you underwhelmed with the Dudley heel turn with the Usos feud?
I'm very underwhelmed with the Dudley turn. I mean, I don't think it's. Some people I've heard and seen talking highly about it. I just don't see it. I get the whole thing of we're trolling you with the table thing and stuff, but I don't know. I'm not into it at all. And I'm a huge fan of the Usos, but I'm not into this whole feud. I don't know what it has to do with that. I don't like the way the heel turn is, pretty much, I guess.
We talked about it last week,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking it's the fact that you're giving us like 2 and 3 minute matches that are rushed on a 3-hour show of Raw.
Yeah.
What makes us care about this?
Nothing.
Exactly.
They haven't done a good job with the Dudleys since they've come back.
No.
On it, they got the big massive pop in Brooklyn, and honestly, they really haven't done anything of substance with them since they've been back. They're kind of just there.
That's because they surprised everybody and their dog, and nobody saw that coming. So
Another thing is when they did the turn, they should have had a completely different look. They should have not came out with the camo. I mean, why are you still wearing?
I agree.
We've mentioned that here on the show before. That was the very first mistake they made, is dressing them up like the Attitude Era.
Yeah,
Big mistake.
I don't get it, especially when the turn happened. The turn should have solidified. Okay, these guys need to look completely different. They need to come out here and start trolling everybody.
Their first promo, they were out in street clothes. I'm thinking, oh, did they get rid of that camo shit?
I was excited with the first promo on SmackDown, and then they reverted right back to the old gear on Raw, and I'm like, okay.
They would have been better off just coming out and fighting in the street gear.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't have a tire. I mean, it makes me think that was their tire not ready?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But if they can let heel Bubba be heel Bubba, then we can maybe like it a little more. But this whole feud with Usos is terrible. Dolph Ziggler Miz had a 1 minute match to match the Raw match, which was stupid. Ziggler went over there. R-Truth and Goldust part whatever 55,000. Matt, I was reading a recap of Raw from my buddy John Canton. This has been going on for 10 weeks now. Yeah,
I have no words.
Highlight of the night, maybe Divas match, number one contender for the Divas title between Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. This was a great match. Obviously, there's the double disqualification at the end, but I thought these two ladies put on a great show. Again, only about 10 minutes, kind of like what they've been getting, but I think WrestleMania, I really hope they get 15 to 20. I don't know if they'll get it. Do you think they will?
I would like to hope so. They need the time. They need the time to establish themselves. I think on the grandest stage of them all, if they don't get the time and they cut them short, all they're doing is a disservice to them as a whole.
Yeah, in all the bill, I mean, the Divas Revolution. This is the pinnacle of the Divas Revolution. All three of these ladies in a triple threat for the title at Mania. So
pretty much the whole Divas Revolution thing and everything. If they don't get 15, 20 minutes, at least in this match here with your Divas Championship, just flush the whole thing down the toilet. It's going nowhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's been going nowhere.
Well, I mean, the fact that you're going to have a
to
4-hour huge show and you do not give them the time that they deserve, then, I mean, that really just shows then you don't care.
Exactly. Charlotte backstage with Ric Flair. Renee Young interviews him and then drops the bombshell that it's going to be a triple threat at Mania, which we all saw coming from a mile away. New Day enters the arena, and they mock the League of Booty. Once again, if you have not seen their videos, look them up.
Hilarious.
And so usual greatness from the New Day, and and Kofi takes on AJ Styles in a very great match. So if you got Hulu or wait a month for it to go on the WWE Network, fast forward yourselves to AJ Styles and Kofi Kingston. That was a phenomenal match on the show there, no pun intended. So watch the ladies match, watch that match between those two gentlemen. You got yourselves a great SmackDown, but then we get ourselves the main event of SmackDown, and I don't know about you guys. I'm obviously, Dean Ambrose is my favorite wrestler in the company. Kevin Owens is up there as well, but I thought these two had a phenomenal main event on SmackDown, and I think Mauro calling it added to the moment too. But I thought these two, when it comes to a SmackDown match, had just a phenomenal match here.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine enjoying SmackDown any more than I do right now. With Mauro calling all the action this year, the entire show feels fresh and more important. The 2-hour time slot compared to the 3-hour Raw is so much better, and I find myself enjoying WWE a lot more on Thursday nights than I do on Monday nights, because sometimes that 3-hour show is just a little bit too long.
And Ambrose gets out of the pop-up powerbomb and countered with a Hurricane Rana, and then got the Dirty Deeds for the victory. It was a non-title match, though, so the IC belt is not on the line here. So a very good SmackDown this week. So now let's go to Raw. Chicago, Illinois, it's going to be hot. I told Matt on Twitter, I go, we should put up a poll. How soon a CM Punk chant will start? And I said, first 30 minutes, first hour, second hour, third hour. That was about, 10 minutes, Matt?
Yeah, I think it was about 10 minutes.
Vince McMahon did have a great comeback for it, though.
He did, and we'll get to that in a sec, but Shane McMahon kicks it off. Gigantic ovation from Chicago, as obviously this is the first time they're seeing Shane in person. He's rocking the Jordans, and then Vince comes out, and he said that he goes, they start chanting asshole, which is great because it's been a while since we've had the asshole chant.
That felt like the Attitude Era.
That was Attitude Era-esque. And Vince mocks him for ending that chant so soon. And then the CM Punk chant starts up, and he goes, well, let's see how long this lasts. Well, as soon as he got done with that sentence, it stopped. John thought maybe it was a sound adjustment by the WWE, so who knows? You think Vince was mucking with the sound there?
No, I don't think so.
They cover talk about Shane's kids and how Shane's going to fail his kids, and Vince had this picture of him and Shane just before Shane's first ever WrestleMania, and
the cheapest picture frame ever.
The cheapest picture frame ever. Hashtag. I tried to get that hashtag trending on Twitter. I don't know if it did or not. But, man, that thing just fell apart when it hit the ground. He got that fucker from Walmart.
I think it was breaking before it even hit the ground. Like, it was falling down, and it was separated in pieces.
I thought the promo was good. I thought the picture thing was stupid. But I thought overall the promo between these two guys, it did feel like Attitude Era, don't you guys think?
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's what they're actually... I would think with this feud, that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, please bring back the asshole chants. We love them.
Is it just me, or when he said about Shane? I mean, it wasn't this Raw, but when he said about Shane McMahon that he's just going to be not his son, he's going to be a son of a bitch. I mean, ain't that kind of like a freaking slap in the face of his wife?
As soon as I heard him say that, I'm like, well, Linda's going to be at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, you just slapped your wife in the face.
I'll be shocked if Linda is not involved at some point, either on the road to WrestleMania or at WrestleMania itself. I definitely see, like, I don't see her coming back as like a full-time character or anything, but I definitely see her making some sort of an appearance between now and WrestleMania itself.
Well, she did say on that Home Shopping Network or QVC or whatever that she will be at WrestleMania and she will be on camera.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
I wonder if she means she's going to be on in the crowd, or if she's going to be like participating, or it'll be very interesting to see what they're going to do.
I was watching the one cool thing they've added to the network's collections, because that enables you to look at bits and pieces of Raws and SmackDowns and all that shit for some great moments. And of course, they show a ton of great Shane moments. And I was watching one in particular. It was right around the Invasion era where Austin and Angle and Vince and Shane cut a promo. And then I stuck with it and actually pulled up that Raw. And just because the main event was going to be Buff Bagwell and Booker T for the WCW Championship.
It's so bad.
And I knew Buff Bagwell was only wrestled one match ever because he got fired the next Monday. And they said due to, I think, bad attitude and stuff. Well, Bob, of course, sucking it up on live TV didn't help either. But there was a scene with Tori Wilson, and she strips Vince down and pulls down his pants. And then Linda, and she leaves, and he turns around, and Linda's standing right there. It's like, oh, the Attitude Era. I love it.
Remember the whole thing where she was in a wheelchair and he's making out with chicks and stuff in front of her?
Yep. Yeah, and then she got out of the coma at WrestleMania and kicked him in the nuts.
Yeah.
It was WrestleMania 17, I think, or was it?
WrestleMania
17, right?
Yeah, because Trish Stratus was her caretaker or whatever.
Yeah.
She decided not to drug her anymore, and that's what cost him the match. So there's some good stuff there, and I highly suggest to go to the Shane collection, especially if you are a younger person or newer to the WWE and wonder why this 46-year-old man is taking on the Undertaker, which is older, but I digress. You're wondering why this guy's a wrestler. Go to that collection. You'll see King of the Ring against Kurt Angle.
I was just gonna say, if you go back and you only watch one match, go back and watch Shane McMahon versus Kurt Angle, and you'll understand why Shane's in this match at WrestleMania.
Shane gets thrown through the glass on stage, and it was supposed to be candy glass where it breaks easily. Guess what? It was real glass.
What was it, 3 attempts and 2 skull crackings before he finally went through that thing?
Yeah, it was brutal.
That was literally a match of 2 guys beating the hell out of each other.
It was phenomenal.
I mean,
man.
One dude got knocked out and one broke his tailbone. I mean, that was a freaking off the wall crazy match.
And of course, probably the moment people remember most with Shane is jumping off the Titantron on the Big Show, and you see Tess there overreacting to it.
I don't know, man. I think if I'd have been standing right there to witness that, I might have been overreacting to it too.
Yeah. Well, I just meant that reaction was just like.
Even the Steve Blackman one where he fell backwards was pretty crazy.
That's true.
Yeah.
A lot of people honestly, forget about that.
I would do the one where he jumps on the Big Show before I do the one. Jumping forward and doing that compared to falling backwards, to me, is more terrifying to fall backwards.
True. I agree with that.
I wouldn't do either one, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't do either one either. Like that's why I think Hell in a Cell is going to be crazy.
Oh, he's going to do
there's going to be so much interference, and there's going to be so many crazy spots that anybody who's worried about this match really shouldn't be, because it's going to be a spectacle and it's going to be awesome. And
how badass?
I think everybody's going to be talking about it after it's over.
How badass would it be if Shane McMahon starts off on top of the cage?
I wouldn't put it past him. I think
it would be awesome.
Yeah,
if Undertaker was younger, I'd have them do the reverse Foley spot and have Shane
throw. No, I don't want to see anybody thrown off Hell in a Cell again. No. Just don't let Shane do it. Don't let Taker do it. For the love of God, do not let somebody get thrown off that Hell in a Cell.
I have to say,
it's way too dangerous.
Undertaker being older and everything, how long would it take him to climb that thing?
Probably.
Well,
there's
There's
already the meme going on that he's already started his entrance at Cowboy Stadium.
I cracked up when I seen that. That was so great. Oh, that's so great.
First match of the night on Monday Night Raw, Kevin Owens against Neville, and this was a good match too. These guys definitely have some great chemistry.
I thought it was a great match to kick off the show as well.
Where he jumped off the second turnbuckle, that was phenomenal.
I blinked. I thought I thought Owens kicked out of the red arrow there for a minute. I didn't realize he was doing his second turnbuckle flip.
Yeah, it was the second row Phoenix Splash.
Yep. And
amazing tribute to
Seth Rollins.
No, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name? The guy just passed away.
Hayabusa.
Yeah,
I believe it was.
Yeah, I believe that was his tribute to him.
Rollins does that move too.
Rollins does it from the top rope. Hayabusa did it from the second.
Yeah, that very well could have been. I didn't like the roll up for the pin, but
I was fine with it. It didn't make. I'm always fine with the roll-up win because it doesn't really hurt the person that lost. It wasn't a definitive loss. You got rolled up. It happens. Roll-ups, small packages, they happen. You live to fight another day. I didn't think
at least every week though.
Yeah,
that's
but
the thing.
Well, you're trying to protect your talent. I didn't think the loss hurt Neville at all. I think a straight up pop up powerbomb for the 1-2-3 would have hurt Neville a lot more than getting rolled up.
Kevin Owens gets the win here, and but that's not good enough. Owens is gonna beat up on Neville some more. He was going for the apron powerbomb. Oh, but we hear some familiar music, and the crowd and everybody on this podcast went fucking wild.
The Honky Tonk Man.
Because Bastion Booger came out to save Neville.
He probably stumbled down the ring with a sandwich in his hands and a Chicago deep dish pizza.
There's no way that Bastion Booger would be running to save anyone. Sami Zayn, this might be his official. Yes, he's on the main roster. Yes, this might be the dream match we were hoping for at WrestleMania. Sami Owens saves Neville, cleans house on Kevin Owens. So, fucking huge reaction, of course, from the Chicago crowd, and I think a perfect moment to bring him back was with that Chicago crowd. It made it a great moment. They better just make this a one-on-one match. If not, the head is so far up the ass. I'd
say after NXT tonight, he's main roster for good.
Yeah, yep. Sammy did take to Twitter Tuesday evening and said, "Here to stay," is all he said, and I definitely took that as meaning his move to the main roster has been finalized, and his final match will be with NXT in Dallas against Nakamura. So
yeah, I fully
that's a hell of a send off as far as I'm concerned.
Shit.
So
oh shit, and we and Matt and I get to see that one live.
Oh, yeah.
Have you've seen Nakamura? Obviously, right?
Who, me or Charles?
You, Matt.
Yes, absolutely.
I figured you had.
Yeah.
Hey, Zack Ryder gets to be on TV for a little bit. Dolph and Zack were shooting the shit backstage, and Stephanie McMahon walked up, and then they rehash when Ziggler took the Authority out of power, but that lasted all a couple of months.
I hate how they ignore Sting.
Yeah.
Like the last couple times this Survivor Series event has been mentioned, they like completely ignore the fact that Sting was involved, and I hate that. That really irks me, especially with him going to the Hall of Fame in a few weeks. Like, why are you ignoring the fact that Sting was there?
And Sting completely enraged the Authority when he showed up.
Yeah.
You know,
it's weird. I don't like it.
Anyways. So Stephanie puts Ziggler in a tag team elimination match 3-on-1 against the League of Nations. Brie Bella against Summer Rae, and this one went all 3 minutes because of the distraction from Lana, and Lana hitting the old X Factor Bella Buster move on Brie.
I was just surprised they let Summer Rae win in her hometown.
Yeah, they always like to shit on people in their hometowns.
Yeah, I was very shocked that Summer got the win in her hometown.
Am I the only one that don't like watching Brie Bella matches?
I like watching Brie Bella, so that's why I don't mind it.
I think Nikki's a much better worker than Brie.
Oh, 100%.
I think Brie tries really hard, and she's obviously a lot better than she was, but she's still not great. And honestly, I thought the Bella Buster, X Factor, whatever you want to call it, that Lana hit on Brie Monday night looked better from Lana than when Brie uses it.
Lana got up the air on that bitch.
I thought Lana really hit the move well, and I thought it honestly made Brie look bad because Brie's been using that move for years, and I thought Lana hitting it on Monday was the best the move's looked in a long time.
Yeah, so I guess this leads to a WrestleMania match, and
certainly looks that way.
There are some rumors that it might be a multi-woman match, which is fine with me too to get some more women on the show.
I don't even see how it can morph into that. It doesn't. The whole storyline has been
just a rumor.
There hasn't been any other diva involvement.
Just
the only thing I could think is, since they are doing the triple threat, and I'm sure they would love to have like a payday, those two have a lumberjack match, lumberjill match.
Ooh, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that.
Are they really going to put 3 diva matches on there to get even more divas involved? I don't think so. I think there'd be 2 at the most, and that's their way of getting all the other divas involved and getting a payday on WrestleMania.
That's not a bad idea. I like that. I like that idea. That's not bad. I mean, I wanted Bryan and Rusev at ringside. I guess they could still be there. But a lumberjill match, that's not bad. I like that.
Dean Ambrose enters the arena and says that he doesn't care what plans that Triple H or Roman Reigns had. He's hijacking the title. He's hijacking WrestleMania.
God, I hope
and
so.
He says how he's going to be the face of the company. This face is going to be on Oprah. It's going to be on People magazine. And he talks to the kids and says, don't try this at home. He talks about Triple H making him buy a suit, but then he says, well, I'm not going to wear a suit. And all that other shit sounds not appealing. But then Triple H shows up, and then Triple H talks about how Roman Reigns' face is getting glued back together. And he suggested that they should take another trip to the announce table. And Ambrose said he'll stand on the announce table with the WWE title, and when I do that, you can suck it. I loved that line. I loved how Ambrose delivered that one.
The deliverer is perfect.
Yeah,
and I love how Hunter throws somebody in some idiot in marketing under the bus by coming up with Roadblock.
Yeah. Like the delivery, I think I said it on Twitter. So the delivery was so well by Ambrose with the suck it that even Triple H pretty much broke character and laughed.
I agree. It was
perfect. This is supposed to be the WrestleMania build that we're supposed to see, but unfortunately, it only stops here Saturday at Roadblock. We'll break down Roadblock here after we get done with Raw, but as I'm
excited for Roadblock, man.
I am 100% excited for that show.
Hunter goes down to the ramp, and Hunter says, "No, I only fight on my time, but you do have a match tonight, and it's against Bray Wyatt. So I'm excited for that because I love that feud. And so, but a good promo again, Triple H and Ambrose again, showing us how good this could have been with a couple more weeks build to WrestleMania. But I digress. Ziggler takes on the Liga Booty. And the only Liga Booty member not in the match is Del Rio.
He wasn't seen the entire evening. That was really odd. I thought I would have figured he would have accompanied them or he was working another match. I found it really odd that Del Rio wasn't there at all.
Yeah, I don't know if they had some kind of other event or kind of tour or maybe overseas thing that he was on. I don't know.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird, the absence of Del Rio.
Poor Barrett. He gets jobbed to Dolph Ziggler. And but then... What'd you say?
I was going to say, well, if the rumors of him leaving are true, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too. Sheamus with a bro kick after Rusev nailed Ziggler when the ref wasn't watching. So the Liga Booty gets over, and Dolph cannot overcome those 3-on-1 odds.
He cannot overcome the booty.
Great. What'd you say?
Not overcome the booty.
He cannot overcome the booty. He needs some bootios.
Why is
great
that
video
cereal not made yet?
It's coming.
Xavier told somebody on Twitter the other week that it was coming, and I hope to God they're selling it at I hope they're selling it at the WrestleMania Superstore in Dallas. Because if they do, I'm buying a freaking box of Booty-O's.
Now, what kind of cereal is it?
That's
it's got to be some form of like a
question.
Cheerio type thing, but there's going to be like marshmallows in it. We're going to have chocolate. What's it going to be?
Unicorn marshmallows.
Yes,
there you go.
It needs to be unicorn marshmallows with Cheerios.
Yep.
It needs to happen. And I will totally buy a box at WrestleMania if it's there. So that would be freaking fantastic.
Great video package showing off the greatness of things that Shane McMahon has pulled off in his career. And again, like I said, go to the WWE Network. One of their newest additions is Collections, and it shows you those clips, which is a phenomenal thing. So you don't have to go searching through episodes of Raw just to try to find it. Kind of like going through the old card catalog in the old library. It's right there for you. Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks took on Team Bad. That lasted all of 2 minutes, and the girls that are going to fight at WrestleMania are obviously went over there. No surprise. R-Truth delivers a pizza to Goldust. Goldust gets all butthurt because he's lactose intolerant, and that's where I got the open of the show.
I knew where you got the open from.
And then Mark Henry shows up and goes, "I love Chicago."
Mark Henry saved that entire segment. Mark Henry
great.
grabbing the pizza at the end was awesome.
New Day comes out to a gigantic pop from the Chicago crowd, and it's amazing. The second run of the New Day is already at almost 200 days. Actually, as of this recording, I think it's 199. So as you listen to it on Thursday, it'll be the 200th day of the New Day's reign, their second reign of as tag team champions. They talk about how they went and got matching tattoos, and Big E was about ready to show his, and the other guys said they were joking, and well, that means Big E must have a tattoo of a unicorn on his ass. We'll never know.
I don't ever want to know. I'm good.
Match of the year candidate. I'm going to write this down in our running tally of match of the year in the WWE for the marquees. I thought Y2J and AJ Styles against Big E and Kofi was fucking great.
Oh, the match was awesome.
It was amazing. The near falls, just the insanity. AJ Styles nailing Big E with that forearm over the top rope. Kingston going for trouble in paradise, and Jericho puts him in the walls. And Kofi trying to fight it. I mean, that was just that's how a submission drama should be, and then when Jericho went for the code breaker, how badass was that? Big E has had some amazing counters just this year alone with catching one of the Usos into the big ending. He caught Jericho in the code breaker and put it into the big ending, and that's what ended the match for the match. And surprisingly, the New Day retained the tag team titles. Charles, I don't know if you're in the boat as us, but we thought the Y2AJ shirts were being sold in the store. It's almost a foregone conclusion they were going to win the tag titles. You agree?
I was in the same boat. I 100% thought they were going to win the tag titles. I was really surprised that they sold those shirts for like a week.
Yeah, and
they got one over on all of us because I was dead set for weeks on. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the Jericho heel turn. Just waiting for the Jericho heel turn. And as soon as they released those T-shirts, I was like, guess I was wrong. I guess there is no heel turn.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Everything that they've done together has been awesome. Like their matches and stuff have been great. Tag matches have been awesome and everything.
Yeah.
Go back to our show last week. Matt changed his tune and goes, "I'm down with this tag team." Yeah. we talk, and we're all talking about it. We're all like, "Yeah, man, they're gonna win the titles. They're gonna have a good reign. They're gonna get a WrestleMania moment by retaining those titles." And
they got me, man. They got me with the damn T-shirt.
But the turn was great. The Styles selling the 3 code breakers was amazing. But I loved when Jericho went Ted DiBiase on AJ Styles and shoved the Y2AJ shirt down the gullet of AJ Styles. I thought that was great.
Now, do you want to see them again?
Well,
after this, the way this played out, yes. But I think they're going to be both in a multi-man match. I think they're going to, I don't know.
After reading the SmackDown spoilers, I have an idea where they're going. I don't know if you guys want to hear that right now.
Oh, go ahead. I don't care.
Charles, do you mind?
Go ahead. I'll take my headphones off.
Well, no, I'm not. Yeah, I don't. No, I don't want to spoil it for you.
That'll be
so. I won't say anything. I have a feeling from what I read on SmackDown. I have a feeling of where they're going. I'll discuss it with you, JB, after the show. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I thought the Y2AJ shirts were pre-order that didn't kick in until
March 23rd.
Yeah, so
and I checked the day after. I checked the day after. I mean, I haven't checked since Tuesday, but as of Tuesday, they were still selling them on WWE Shop.
But you said that you get charged right away, right?
Yes, they charge when you make an order through WWE Shop, they charge you immediately.
God, this is so baffling. But it's somebody saying, "Hey, we got one over on them." They thought they were going to win the belts.
Well, they definitely got me. I'm not even going to lie, they totally got me. The T-shirt totally sealed it.
In stock date is still March 23rd, and still pre-order one.
Jericho talked backstage with Renee Young, asking why Jericho did what he did, and he complained about how it was all about chanting for AJ Styles. Well, they won't be chanting for him anymore. So, oh look, it's Jobber.
Poor Tyler.
Tyler Breeze Kalisto went 2 minutes. Thank you for coming, Tyler.
You leave one show early.
I know, but he even got permission. I heard he got permission to leave early.
But not enough permission, apparently.
It's ridiculous. Let the man off the hook already, for crying out loud.
Yeah, him and Titus will be in a tag team jobbers here once Titus gets back.
Even though he had like a whole little storyline going and everything, I was so disappointed when he debuted on SmackDown.
You mean it like instead of Raw, or just disappointed with the storyline they gave him, period?
I was disappointed that it's cool that he was on, like, they could have, it should have been a debut on Raw and moved to SmackDown, not debut on Raw, or not debut on SmackDown.
Yeah, because I thought his interaction with Ziggler on his debut was great.
Yeah.
I thought everything went well.
I think that honestly should have happened on Raw and then move the feud to SmackDown to make people go watch SmackDown.
I can't argue with that. I always feel, even though SmackDown does seem a lot more important in 2016 than it has in the past, I can't help but feel like they still consider SmackDown to be like the B show. So when you're choosing to debut somebody on SmackDown instead of Raw, it kind of says a lot about how the company feels about him. Yeah. So yeah, it sucks. And then Tyler Breeze is great. He's a great worker. Which is horrible
because when you look at him in like NXT Brooklyn and stuff like that, I mean, how over he was when he came out there in New York and stuff with the big, huge entrance and everything. I mean, stuff like that should be happening with him right now. Something like that should be happening with him this year at WrestleMania.
Well, I mean, if we're lucky, and the Shane McMahon storyline goes the way I hope it goes, when Shane mentioned on Monday about, the people with the talent not getting the chances and the people with no talent getting all the chances, they have a chance to fix a lot of talents after WrestleMania under a quote-unquote Shane regime. So maybe people like, Tyler Breeze is a perfect example of somebody that they could fix and rebuild.
Ziggler, Cesaro.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very good possibility to fix a lot of characters in their pushes post-WrestleMania with Shane McMahon going over in Dallas.
You're crushing Pete Gas and the Mean Street Posse's dreams right now, right?
Oh, there is a 3-minute clip in the Shane McMahon collections of all of the Mean Street Posse's vignettes of talking to the camera. Oh my God, that was so great to relive.
Pete Gas's tweet was great. It was right around the time Shane McMahon came out, and he's like, "Still haven't got a call."
Dude, if the Mean Street Posse's not at WrestleMania, I'm gonna be shocked. I fully expect a Mean Street Posse run in at WrestleMania.
That'd be amazing.
Even if they just came down, got their faces kicked in by someone for like 5 seconds, and then it's the last we've seen of them, that'd be awesome.
Well, that's exactly what I'm expecting. I'm expecting them all to run out and get beat up by The Undertaker. But I am totally expecting a Mean Street Posse run in at WrestleMania.
Do you expect Rock and Austin to get involved in this somehow?
We still don't know what either of those guys are doing. You would have to think they'd want to be doing something important, and there's not much more important than this match. So yeah, I'd love to see The Rock and Stone Cold involved in this match. Will
this match get a guest referee?
It might be Foley.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if you look at what happened last year, I see this being the match Sting and Triple H, where so many different people of factions.
Completely agree.
I think this is what's going to happen here, and I think it's going to be this is going to be like their big, huge Attitude Era type match of the Attitude Era being showed on WrestleMania this year's one.
Matt and I both think this closes the show.
I hope so. I would.
Title
match. I think it should close the show.
I think this match closes the show if Dean Ambrose doesn't win the title on Saturday.
They don't want to go out with 100,000 people booing Roman Reigns.
I think if Triple H retains and they go through with Triple H and Roman, I think the Hell in a Cell closes WrestleMania.
Yeah, I've said it all along. If it's just Reigns and Trips, I've said this from day one that this thing's been put in place that Triple H retains.
I think nothing stops Vince. If Triple H retains on Saturday, I think nothing stops Vince from going through with his Roman Reigns win at WrestleMania. I truly believe that even if they have to do a double turn and turn Triple H face and turn Roman heel to make it happen, I just cannot see if Vince is so dead set on Roman and Triple H beats Dean on Saturday, which in my opinion Dean should win on Saturday and none of this will even matter. But if Dean loses and Triple H retains, there's no way Roman's not walking out of WrestleMania with the title. There's no way.
All right, let's go to the next segment here on Raw. What'd you guys think about the Kalisto and Ryback exchange?
Hated it.
Not a fan.
I thought it was one of the most incoherent, rumbling Ryback promos I've ever heard, and that's saying something.
What do you guys think of Ryback's current persona in the ring right now?
I like it, but that promo on Monday was weird.
Oh, it was
like, I mean, you're going
Warrior-esque.
A different direction with him, but that kind of brought him back to where he was.
Yeah,
I agree, absolutely agree. Because he's looking like a badass in the ring right now, and then he did that promo with Kalisto, and it was done, and I was like, is he a heel or not?
But he's kind of telling.
I didn't freaking understand after that.
But he's like trying to tell Kalisto you're good, but you need to be on your own. You know,
it didn't make any sense. It didn't make sense of the character that they're trying to portray Ryback as being right now. It just didn't add up. I mean, at this point, I'm giving up on my Goldberg versus Ryback WrestleMania match. But
I gave up on that right away.
Shut up.
They don't mention this on Monday Night Raw, but they don't mention this on Monday Night Raw. But we got ourselves a Ryback match. Ryback Curtis Axel.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
The Ryback reunion.
Then we got a promo backstage with Steph and Vince, and Steph puts it in Vince's head, what if Shane wins at WrestleMania? You mean when? Thank you, Baltimore, Maryland, WWE versus Raw, or whatever the hell that was.
Monday Night Raw versus WWE.
Miz TV is going to have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on SmackDown. That's going to be great. I can't wait for that one. And then Bray Wyatt against Dean Ambrose. I thought this was pretty good for what they got, but of course, predictable. It was very odd that there was no Wyatt family with Wyatt, so I fully expected this to kind of have the old music hit and they all attack on Ambrose. And but as Triple H comes in there to clean up the scraps, Ambrose hits him with the dirty deeds, and Triple H went night-night there.
You skipped over something very important.
What did I skip over?
The tease of the Wyatt face turn. The Wyatt family face turn. The stare down with Triple H.
The stare down with
Triple H. The crowd got
H.
into it, dude.
They did.
The crowd was like, oh man, something big could go down here. They have a real chance. If they choose within the next month or two, they want to turn the Wyatt family into a face faction, they could really do something important with those guys this year.
Will it make you like Braun Strowman more?
I don't think anything can make me like Braun Strowman more. I think Braun Strowman should have been in the bracket of Suckitude.
It was the type of face-off, just like when the Shield faced the Wyatts, and before the bell even rang, that "This is awesome" chant started, and the crowd wasn't just chanting that to chant that. They were right. I was feeling the same thing, and when they stared down, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I can see a Roadblock. I can see Bray Wyatt fighting Brock Lesnar, obviously losing. But then at the end, coming out and helping Ambrose win the title.
That would be crazy.
I fully expected Wyatt's to be involved in the Taker Shane match somehow.
I really think that the way, I mean, I'm not a big person to get into ratings and everything else, but I really think that this is something that they need to do. I'm surprised they haven't done this already. I 100% believe that title change at Roadblock needs to happen.
Agreed.
The reason is because not only are you going to get more people to subscribe to the network because they're going to believe that, holy cow, they're actually willing to totally sidetrack everything leading up to WrestleMania and do a title change. And then people are going to think, well, when's the next time they're going to do this? And I don't have the network, which means I'm going to miss it. So now I got to buy the network because who knows when they're going to do this again, and I don't want to miss it the next time they do.
Let's go right into WWE Roadblock this Saturday on the WWE Network, and the theme song for Roadblock, one of my favorite new bands, Royal Blood, Out of the Black, is the theme song for the show. So happy for those guys to get a little more pub. That's one of my favorite bands out there today. All right, let's go break it down, fellas. Tag Team Championship match. The New Day against the League of Booty, and Sheamus and Barrett are going to represent the League of Booty. I think this is almost as obvious as the grass is going to grow. New Day winning here. What about you, Charles?
I believe the only reason Barrett's in that match is so he could be the one to get pinned.
Get pinned. Yeah.
That's the whole reason he's in there.
Yep. Matt, what do you think?
I would agree with Charles. I as soon as I saw Barrett was the choice for the tag team, I'm like, well, there's no way they're putting the title on Barrett right now, and he's going to be the one to take the pin. If it would have been like Rusev and Sheamus or Rusev and Del Rio or something, I might have been a little, well, maybe they'll put the titles on the League of Nations and have New Day win it back off of them at WrestleMania or something. But Barrett in the match screams to me that, you know, Barrett's taking the pin and New Day retain.
That is the first of 4 announced matches on the card. Obviously, it is scheduled for a 3-hour event, so you can fully expect at least probably the card to double. Next one on the docket here, Brock Lesnar against Bray Wyatt. As much as I want Bray Wyatt's push to start now, this is going to be all about Brock Lesnar getting his revenge from the Royal Rumble, I assume. Matt, is that what you agree with?
Yeah, I think this is going to be Brock destroys the entire Wyatt family and looks like the beast that he is going into WrestleMania with the who can stop Brock Lesnar mindset placed by the commentators after the match is over.
Of course, Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose scheduled for a street fight. We'll get into more of that once we talk about the main event. But we got another championship to talk about, and it's great to see that the Tag Team Championship for NXT is on this card. The Revival team I've been with ever since they've won the belts. I think before people started using the Tully and Arn, and I think Matt may be able to be a witness for me. I started using the Tully and Arn reference right away.
Yeah, you did.
Before they even started on TV. So somebody in WWE must listen to the podcast.
And I appreciate them.
Yes. The Revival take on Enzo and Cass. Charles, how do you see this one playing out?
Enzo and Cass are going to take the titles. Has to. I'd be 100% surprised. I'd be blown away, actually, if they did not win the tag titles. To put them on this big show and finally give them the shot at it like this, wow. If Dawson and Wilder win this, I'd be amazed.
Yeah, we were when we broke down when we broke down the spoilers for NXT and they were nowhere to be seen. We thought for sure they were going to be in the main roster and fighting WrestleMania for the tag team championships.
I was disappointed when they did NXT Brooklyn and they weren't on the main show,
which was insane. I thought that was a huge missed opportunity.
That crowd's reaction that night, they might have had one of the biggest reactions of the whole show, if not the biggest.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Honestly, I think Enzo and Cass should have won the titles that night instead of the Vaudevillains.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Enzo and Cass. I think we're going to get a triple threat of 3 amazing tag teams in NXT. We're going to get a triple threat in Dallas. So I'm going with Enzo and Cass because what was supposed to be on this week's NXT show was the number one contenders.
The number one contenders match between it was American Alpha and the Vaudevillains, right?
Yep,
yeah.
Yep.
So I would imagine if Enzo and Cass win on Saturday, which I'm hoping they do, the Revival invoke their rematch clause. The winner of the number one contenders match obviously would have a say at the titles, and you do a 3-way tag title match at TakeOver, and I'm all freaking about that. That sounds great.
All right, so who are you going with on that NXT Tag Team Championship match there, Matt?
I'm going with Enzo and Cass. That's who I want to win. So,
all right, let's talk. Let's talk about the main event.
What
a main event.
The elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room. What should have been the main event at WrestleMania, but instead, now this is called Roadblock. Are they teasing a roadblock at WrestleMania? Are they just fucking with us like they did at Fastlane? It's Triple H against Dean Ambrose for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I'm probably gonna think with my heart more than my head. Again, like I did at Fastlane, I fully expected Dean Ambrose to win the match at Fastlane. Become number one contender against Triple H. The story just made sense. You've seen how it's been played out so far. I swear to God, that would have been a phenomenal build with a couple more weeks on top of that. I don't know. Roman Reigns has lost steam. That's why I still contend that if Triple H does beat Dean Ambrose, he is going to beat Roman Reigns because A, this isn't going to close the show, and B, they don't want 100,000 fans booing the shit out of Roman Reigns unless they are going to turn him heel where Triple H turns face and joins Shane. But all that could be thrown out the window with Dean Ambrose winning the title here at Roadblock. And then what this sets up, this could set up a fatal four-way at WrestleMania with Brock Lesnar, Triple H, Roman Reigns. I still have Ambrose walking out of Dallas the winner there, and then we get our street fight with Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose at Extreme Rules the very next month at pay-per-view. This is how it should be booked. I'm going to predict how it should be booked. Will it be booked that way? I fucking highly doubt it, but I am going with Ambrose and booking that all the way into Extreme Rules where he faces Brock Lesnar for the title. So that's my take on it. Matt, go ahead.
I also picked Dean to win at Fastlane. As I said then, heart overhead. I will once again, I'm giving WWE the benefit of the doubt that they've realized that they need to do this. And WWE needs to shock the world on Saturday. Dean Ambrose needs to beat Triple H for the championship, and they need to go off the air with the commentators going, oh my God, Dean is WWE champion. What does this mean for WrestleMania? What is our main event? And get everybody to tune in Monday Night on Raw, because what's going to happen? Is it going to be Dean versus Brock for the title? Is it going to be Dean versus Triple H in a rematch? Is it going to be Dean, Triple H, and Brock in a triple threat? Is Roman's nose not healed enough to come back and work? Is it going to be a fatal four-way? You don't know. So you want to tune in to Raw on that Monday and find out. And Charles is going to get to be Charles. You get to go to that show live on Monday, so you got to be freaking pumped up if that happens.
Yes.
Like what do you want to see Saturday night?
Well, I was talking about it earlier for sure. I
Yeah.
really think this needs to happen. That they need to give the belt to Ambrose, and just because it introduces so many interesting scenarios now that no one knows how it's going to play out. I mean, you got that going to happen on Saturday, and then everybody's going to tune in Monday and find out, well, where's this going? And which pretty much means that Roman Reigns has to make an appearance on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And
now keep this in mind: Roman Reigns is not wrestling this weekend.
He was scheduled for Roadblock and the Friday Night House show, and he's been pulled from both.
Yep.
So, I mean, the longer he's off TV, the more I think, maybe there was a complication in his nasal reconstructive surgery that he had to have done. I don't know, man. I'm holding hope against hope.
there's
My
just
boy
so
Dean
many
Ambrose
things.
gets this done Saturday night.
Yeah, by Ambrose winning this, one is it's just gonna be so many eyes on them, just because there's gonna be we've never seen this before. That network has been introduced, but they've never done something totally, out of the box like this, to where we're gonna change the title, the heavyweight title. We're gonna change this, and people that don't have the network and people can't get this on pay-per-view are gonna miss this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a huge opportunity to sell the network.
Now we're all
promoting forever. This is your biggest chance to sell this.
Now we're all thinking with our hearts here, but do you think do you honestly have faith that they follow through with this plan?
I think they do. I think they got so much to gain compared to if they just let Triple H walk out with the title. They have way more to gain by doing this. And it doesn't hurt WrestleMania or anything else whatsoever. It only makes it bigger and more interesting.
And it's hurt the fact that Reigns hasn't been on TV for 2 weeks, which is obviously selling the injuries, but he also in real life had surgery and reconstructive surgery for his nasal passages, and the the main event of WrestleMania is, bam, right there, and he hasn't been there for the last 2 weeks.
Now here's something I think now with like you guys talking about the ratings and stuff like that, people saying the ratings should be better and stuff. I mean, obviously there's a lot of people compared to years before that are hurt right now that people would tune in to watch. Big time. A lot of kids would be tuning in right now to watch John Cena. Now, on the other hand, right now, a lot of kids would also be tuning in to see Roman Reigns, which is now not there as well. Mm-hmm. And I went to, before I went to Fastlane, the night before I went to a house show in Youngstown. And I will say, going to a house show is completely different than going to an actual televised show because most of the time at house shows, you don't get a lot of the Smart Mark fans there. You're getting like the families and stuff like that. They're coming together and stuff. Mm-hmm. Roman Reigns' reaction is completely different at a house compared to television. That guy gets cheered out the building and kids go nuts for this guy. Like there's so many people I see, even at Fastlane. I mean, the boos come across very loud on television. I don't know if they're overpowering like kids and things like that, but kids everywhere wearing Roman Reigns' gear and wearing all his stuff at the house show and at Fastlane. So, I mean, this guy is a big deal. I mean, that could be hurting as well, the fact that he's not on TV anymore either.
Mm-hmm. Reigns very much gets the John Cena reaction.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not as strongly as John Cena, but he definitely has the John Cena stigma about him between the audience. And me and JB have gone on record for months that we think Roman Reigns is great. I just think it's the creative booking that has hurt Roman on the road to WrestleMania this year. And I mean, there's really nobody to blame but Vince. They really screwed him over at the Royal Rumble creatively, and they did so much good for him at TLC and afterwards, and they kind of like threw it all away and set it on fire at the Rumble, and they've been scrambling ever since to try to fix what they screwed up, and it's not there.
Roman Reigns 100% should not talk. He should show up. He should beat the crap out of everybody, whether they are a heel or a face or whatever. He should just destroy everyone and never talk.
I think he's fine. I think he's fine with talking. It's just when they get. It's just like John Cena. It's just like John Cena. When John Cena did poop jokes, we're like, what the fuck? But when John Cena gets serious, it's good promo. Roman Reigns, when he gets serious, it's badass. It's short and to the point. It's a good promo. When you throw in suffering Succotash, that's why we boo. But I've been saying this ever since we kicked off our show in January last year. Our first couple episodes, we had that snow episode where the blizzard hit, and I said the work Roman Reigns did there in his sit down with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman turned the corner for me to accept the fact that he's fighting Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I didn't like the fact that he won the Royal Rumble, but that sit-down interview when they were stuck in Stamford for that blizzard, that turned me around, and I have been positive on everything with Roman Reigns ever since. He has improved so much. That same Philly crowd that booed the fuck out of him at the Royal Rumble cheered the fuck out of him when he beat the shit out of Triple H at TLC. And then
he won the title in Philly. It was the next night.
And then
he beat Sheamus.
What Matt said is creative as Philly cheered the shit out of him, and now it's kind of back to and people are doing the cool thing and booing him again. But so I don't know.
I just think with Roman Reigns on the microphone, less is more. It was the same thing with Goldberg. Goldberg could talk short, sweet, and to the point, and everybody bought it. Nobody wanted to hear a long Goldberg promo. They just wanted to see Goldberg come out and beat somebody's ass and ask who's next. And they need to do the same thing with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns can work, but on the microphone, I just think less is more. And I agree with Charles. The less he's on the mic and the more they allow him to just show off being a badass, I think the better it is for his character long term.
All right, fellas, that wraps up this edition of Lost in the Midcard, as we are more than excited getting ready for WWE Roadblock on the WWE Network this Saturday night. Make sure to tune in because it's going to be a mixture of NXT and WWE with, I think, a main event that we will never forget. Charles, thanks again for joining us on the show. It's been a hell of a great talk. Maybe we can get you back on before Matt and I head down to Dallas, maybe for our WrestleMania preview. Maybe we can get both you and Trevor on and have a little fatal four-way roundtable to set up the table for WrestleMania. But thanks a lot for joining us, man.
Oh, not a problem, guys. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'd love to come back.
And once again, thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host and enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. Just go ahead and search for Lost in the Midcard and like us. And also go onto iTunes and give us a nice little 5-star review. Matt, go over the details of that for us, please.
Just real quick for you guys. I'm sure you guys have heard in the past weeks, and a lot of you have responded, and we all appreciate it. If you go on iTunes, check out Lost in the Midcard, give us a 5-star review. Hit a screen cap of the review. Tweet us at our Twitter handle, LITMC Podcast, with the picture. We follow you back on Twitter. Just our way of saying thanks for supporting the show, and we appreciate the love and you guys listening. We wouldn't do this if you guys weren't listening, so we appreciate it.
Most definitely. And also you can subscribe to us on YouTube, and we have links to both of those. Go to the notes section of our Facebook page, and that is facebook.com/Lost in the Midcard. And as Matt said, our Twitter handle at LITMC Podcast. And Matt, before we wrap it up and look forward to SmackDown on Thursday night and then Roadblock on Saturday night, give us some final thoughts here.
Everything lies at Roadblock. Everything. In my opinion, the entire landscape of WrestleMania, positive or negative, will be decided with the main event of Roadblock on Saturday night. So let's wait and see what happens. I'm hoping WWE does the right thing, and I hope next week we're all really excited about the new World Heavyweight Champion in Dean Ambrose.
Most definitely. And so for Charles and Matt, this is Jeremy. Thank you for tuning in to Lost in the Midcard. Enjoy WWE Roadblock. We'll be back with our reactions next Thursday.